But it looks like
both campaigns or just the second campaign?
I consider them part of the same campaign, just different story, like side stories.
That's fair.
No, I mean, maybe there's a parallel. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
you'll be surprised.
Have been in both of them, you know. It's kind of like Critical Role, right? I don't know if any of you watch Critical Role, but like all of the campaigns take place in the same world around the same time. So they hear of the exploits of like their own party, you know. And we're kind of like that, right? We heard about, you know, that a person involved in the death of my character's sister we killed in the other campaign.
Yeah.
Yo, for those watching, we're invested in world building, and if you are locked into one POV, you are only seeing one fraction of the world.
Yeah.
Know it.
This is an exercise in empathy.
This is not The Last of Us Part 2, though, but it could be.
It will be when Tareth is
we're
in this world.
We're gonna play the Lich now? Is that what we're gonna do?
No.
Is that gonna be our new POV? We're all Liches?
Liches get stitches.
Inquisition characters.
No, I am never fucking having a campaign with that.
That would kind of be pretty fun.
Actually, Kelly, you say that, but that would be a lot of fun. And I think it would really flesh out the Inquisition and those who join, what their motives are, and, you know, the kind of radicalization process they go through.
I'm not here for Nazi sympathizing. But if you want a one-shot, maybe. But a one-shot is the best you're getting.
It's not Nazi sympathizing, you know. It's just we could be the not Nazis in the Nazi group, you know.
Good lord. Anyway,
could be a not Nazi and a Nazi.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we need like a lot of context there.
It would need to be like everybody was infiltrating them. I think that's the only way you could do it.
Like Spy Inquisition.
Yeah.
Spinquisition.
I was thinking, I guess, more along the lines of like we like in earnest had reasons to like, you know, not like magic users.
Like you were like courted into it and then slowly realized that it's not what you thought it was.
It's like a disillusionment narrative, right? Like you know, we're like it's like joining the Empire, right? And then like we're Finn.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, fucking Christ, good.
Dude, Empire did nothing wrong.
Oh my god.
But anyways, like, but it'd be like we join, and then it's like we're slowly getting more disillusioned as we continue the campaign. That'd be
really cool. And just like Disney, we could completely fuck up and just completely disregard the character after the initial episode.
It sucks because it was the most interesting character
by far. I like what they did with Kylo, but I will agree. Yeah, what they did with Finn or whatever the fuck, Poe, Finn. Which one is it? I don't know.
Corey, you got some friends in chat.
I was just saying at the end of what I was trying to say was like at the end of the movie, he was the character I was most interested in continuing, like you know what I mean. But I agree that in the next movies he becomes less interesting. Kylo is way more interesting than the second two movies to me.
Yeah, even though they're all utter dog shit. I like The Last Jedi, but a lot of people don't for very racist and sexist reasons.
I like The Last Jedi. That's my favorite one of the three.
Yep.
It actually
Force Awakens was fun when it came out. Like, it was a great theater experience.
As resident DM and person that refuses to let another 5 minutes go by of Star Wars derailing, let's get a recap of what happened. Let's get a recap of what happened last week in a game called Don't Trust Corey.
Yeah,
Liches don't get stitches; they get dead.
Yeah. I think we're already undead, but now they're just dead. That's your recap.
No, I need more.
All right.
Yeah. I cast haste on a boss and then dropped it immediately. That was really cool. If you ever get a chance to do that, do that.
All right. I'll give a quick recap. So, it was an episode of hemming and hawing, and then immense action. So we spent the first half of the episode being like, should we go kill this evil wizard who killed my sister? And my character was all like, revenge, yes, let's do it. And she was like, and if you don't want to do it, I'll do it by myself. But she was, you know, not so, you know, she was also like kind of conflicted inside about it. But eventually we decided that this was the right time to do it, and we made a plan. The plan was to have the Lich like go out to meet with Alistair, the ward or Taratha's ward or whatever, like weird boss. I don't know what their relationship is. I don't know if they know. And then, but then we made a plan for them to go visit them, and then we would ambush them at their home when they got back. So we snuck into the home. We told the painter his painting was really bad. And,
Yeah.
Taratha.
I want to point out that this level 0 character was a bigger threat to you in terms of time it took to take them, like, to settle them, than the fucking CR21 Lich.
Well, that's because we're good at swinging swords and we're not good at talking. And so then we were sneaking up in, but it turned out that the Lich had sent his simulacrum instead of himself. So we went into a combat with the Lich. And then it turned out that he was a pushover and had no HP, and we killed him in 3 rounds.
It was
He had a bunch of bears, but Taratha was like, "Get the fuck off me,
You mean
undead."
Tali?
Sorry, Tali was like, "Get the fuck off me, undead," and then all the bears were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go downstairs now."
I mean, maybe actually be able to differentiate our characters.
And then we killed the Lich, and then we killed his Horcruxes.
One of them.
Which, I'm actually watching Harry
Not
Potter
the second
right now.
one. You got one of them,
Alistair
which was
has the second one, so we have to confirm that Alistair did destroy it. But the other one was in a child, but fortunately we were able to not kill the child. So we were willing to kill the child. I think that's important to note.
You had Revivify.
Yes, well, we were going, not like kill, not like we did to the Lich, we would kill, revive,
Let's not act like that's like somehow morally superior. Like, just outright killing a child and reviving them is like cruel and unusual in so many ways.
I think it goes back to the "would you kill a baby Hitler?" That it's that philosophy.
No, I wouldn't kill baby Hitler. I would properly educate and raise baby Hitler. Come on.
I would just pay off the admissions person so he gets into the College of Vienna. Easy.
Christ.
Eric taking the easy way out.
All right.
So,
I think that was a good enough recap. Did I miss anything?
That was good.
So is this where Taratha learned Simulacrum?
You do.
Canon?
Well, here's
find his book.
You do have access to his book with all of his Lich spells. Plus, you do get Simulacrum.
Dope. Cool. This is
So,
dope. Also, does this make Taratha the most powerful wizard in Vara now?
You don't know that. You could do a history check. You could do a history check.
I'll do a history check.
Because that's definitely something Taratha would do. She's like, oh, am I the most powerful?
So that is 19 on the dice plus something really good.
Yeah, because that's an int-based check. Yeah, Taratha, if she is not the most, she is definitely one of the most. And if there's someone more powerful than you are, you do not know them personally.
28.
Yeah. So you are the most powerful wizard you know, and if there's someone more powerful, you do not know them or know of them.
Yes, the J.J. Abrams secret box approach.
Yep.
Classic narrative.
Yep. But right now you are. Oh yeah. So Taratha went and modified memory. Are you all meeting back up at the Steady Quill? Or are you going back to your own respective places? You do know that it takes at least 24 hours for the Lich to regenerate, so you can have a good night's sleep before worrying about the second phylactery.
Minimum 24
hours. I think Willow wants to get the job done.
You could.
Let's go visit Alistair.
Is it going to be all 3 of you? Just Willow and Tali? Just Willow? Who gonna be there?
I'm there.
I mean, I think I would be there.
Would Willow let you know? Because here's the question. Because you were modifying, actually, it all happened concurrently. So you finished modifying memory at around the same time that the other 2 deal with the simulacrum. So what would be Taratha's natural course of action?
Usually to drink tea, but I don't know. Like, I had to go back to Alistair and remodify his memory anyways.
That is true. All right, so then all three of you could be there, and because Tareth is there, you have like the sort of code to the the helps entrance, so you don't have to go through the kind of security that Willow and Tali would have done, and you're able to get into the Alcott residence. Alistair is at this point. It's not terribly late. It's probably around like 10 or 11 at this point. So he would probably be in his study, just working kind of diligently with a scotch sitting on the heavy wooden desk. How do you approach?
Well, I'll look at Taratha and said maybe you should help him remember before we do anything else.
You don't think it'd be more fun this way?
Well, so does he remember telling me that he knows where the Horcrux is?
I don't think so, because he specifically asked Taratha to erase anything related to this, so that
I don't think Taratha had the choice though, because those were different conversations at different points in time.
Well, no, he would have like asked her to specifically remove any sort of liability and like understanding the conversation, so she would have to
I'm
put
just
that
saying
back
that
in.
within the context of the spell, as the spell works.
Oh, right. It would have
Because
to be a 10-minute time period.
Yeah.
But it could have been like he could have like that's a 10-minute time period that she could have erased and put back in, that like they had a conversation that was agreeable about the arcane bane. And
or we could say that the scroll that we used was somehow at a higher spell level, so we're
yeah,
not dealing with 10 minutes.
Yeah, because I forgot that was he did use a scroll for that, and definitely he wanted to remove any sort of liability on himself, so that would be his main point.
Yeah, that's fine. Then let's restore his memory first.
So he'll look up and he'll see Taratha at the door, and he'll go, "Oh, it's good to see you.
Don't resist."
There's
And then I start casting the spell.
Christ. Yeah, I mean, he was about to say I feel like there was something that I needed you to do, and you do that. What do you restore specifically?
What he said.
Okay. And like he goes from like actually, because here's the thing, he's been kind of like nervous and salty about you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The way I imagine it is like when you're trying to fuck with folders on the computer, so you just like take out old files, but you don't want to get rid of them because they might have something important in it. And when you put in new files, so I take out the new files and I put the old files back in. That's exactly how I imagine this working, because that is how the human mind works.
Fair enough. And he goes from looking, and because here's the thing, it's been kind of tense between the two of you for the past couple weeks / months of seeing one another. And this was the first time he actually looked kind of like happy to see you. And that sort of, bright look just goes back to a sort of like, narrow-eyed, stern face look. And when the spell is over, he looks at you and gives a nod. And then he'll look at the others in the room and ask, "Has it been done?"
Did we get the simulacrum?
You did, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We caught it on its way home and killed it.
Yeah, it's all done.
Any witnesses?
Not to our knowledge.
Yes, there was one, but I took care of it.
How?
Well, that sounds a lot more sinister. He just went and made him forget.
Okay. And how do you plan on answering to the authorities if somehow it does lead back to you?
Well, I'll probably be dead by then, so.
So what proof we have that it was a lich.
And what proof do you have of that?
Well, they're going to find his body in a kind of a lich lair, so that.
I'm going to need something better than that. He was very high up, Taratha. You and I both know that they could still get away. And what were you doing in there? They're going to ask those questions, and I don't want this coming back onto me.
I was lost.
You don't get lost inside an estate past
Well, the answer
multiple
becomes
guards.
quite obvious. I've done enough to sow enough doubt into people's mind that I work fully for you or under you, so I don't foresee it being an issue. All you have to claim is that, my advisor has been working with seedy folk, meeting with nobles of other parts of Pagania, and that this might have been part of a larger conspiracy. And given how that will unravel, well, who knows?
And you, Tali?
Just say Tali's my bitch.
No!
Sure. That works.
Incredible.
It's
Yeah.
not untrue.
Good lord. All right.
Tali says, super fucking salty, staring at you like you're a cunt, but that's okay.
Pretty much her character description in a word.
All right then. Taratha, Tali, if you would leave this to Willow and I would appreciate you making yourselves comfortable in the sitting room.
Yeah, Tali just turns on her heel and walks out.
Yeah, I'm going down to your wine cellar. It's a long day.
And
only you and me.
Do you ask this before your friends leave?
I'll ask it once they're gone.
Well, I figured this was a conversation more appropriate one-on-one.
You have the Horcrux, right?
The
What's a
phylactery.
Horcrux?
The phylactery.
Yes, I am in possession of it. I admittedly do have some questions, and you are not obligated to answer any of them, but do know I would appreciate if you were to give some insight on this.
I'll do my best. You are helping me out, so I'll help you out.
Of course. And he'll pull the phylactery out of the and bear in mind, like he probably no. It would be under like a bunch of like lock and keys, and he's doing this as he's talking to sort of show good faith that he's not like withholding the object based on your answers. And he'll go, "Do you hold ill will of me?"
Why would I hold ill will of you?
Well, it appears that my father was involved in taking away someone very important to you, and while I am not my father, I still benefit from the things that he has reaped.
Is there a picture of his crest in the room?
Yeah.
I'll walk over to it and I'll say, "This, I hate that. I don't like what it stands for. I don't like the lineage it implies. I don't like the power that it wields. But you, I don't really associate you too much with that. You're all right."
And what if and he gestures to the crest, enjoy the power that it wields, enjoy what it has given me and what it will continue to give me.
Why wouldn't you enjoy it? It's yours.
Fair enough. And he'll, at long last, he'll have the phylactery out of the multiple security measures that he took to keep it safe and hidden, and he'll pass it over. And he'll go, it still doesn't feel good. This.
What doesn't feel good?
That, I don't know, somehow I still feel responsible, guilty even. And the unfortunate thing is, even if you were to look me in the eye and say, I forgive you, it's not your fault, I still feel its weight. And, well, I'm not sure if it makes me a decent person or not, continuing to try and right the wrongs that my family has done to you, to others. And I can't help but wonder if there are those that do the same for me, only out of obligation and not out of their will.
You see, that's why I don't hate you, and I just hate your crest, because yes, you benefit from it. Yes, you maybe even enjoy some of those benefits, but look at how the gravity of such a symbol tears at you. But I will say, I will not stand in front of you and look you in the eye and say I forgive you, because I can't. You haven't done anything wrong. So I can't forgive you for what you have not done. And then I will pull out Undoing, and I will strike at the phylactery, and Undoing can cast Dispel Magic with a strike, so I will cast Dispel Magic upon it when I strike it with the sword.
Nice. Yeah, there's a bright burst, and you got this with the last one as well, so you're not surprised by it. But there's a bright burst followed by a hissing, like a sort of like a tea kettle whistling and then dying off at the end. And Alistair gives a heavy sigh and nods, and he'll go, "Well, I probably won't be seeing much of you moving forward, am I?"
I'm still going to be hanging out with Taritha. You'll probably still be skulking my bookstore. So no, I think I'll probably see you just enough.
That's true.
But, and of course, you've made yourself useful. And I'm somebody who can be made useful quite a bit, especially to somebody in your shoes. So come ring, and if you ever have a decent, and I do mean decent, opportunity for me.
Fair enough. And he'll give like a small nod to you, and he'll say, "Well, you be well. Feel free to help yourself to the wine cellar before you go."
Did he ever really answer the question of why he wanted Taritha and Tolly to leave?
I mean, he did answer that he wanted to have this conversation alone. He felt that it was better to have alone.
Okay, okay.
You could give an insight check if
I
you
will
want
do
to.
that. 11.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you don't get a good read on him, but he is someone that, kind of has a lot of posture in public, and maybe he felt a little vulnerable with this conversation and wanted as little witnesses to that as possible.
Say, Alistair, before I hop skip out of here, I do have a question.
Of course.
The whole time I've known you, I get the same vibe, which is I can tell that there's a lot of things you don't want. You don't want to be like your father. You don't want to join strange cult organizations, and good on you for that. You don't want a lot of different things. But I gotta ask, what do you want?
And he's a little kind of taken aback by the question. He lets out a nervous laugh because you don't need to insight check this. He doesn't know necessarily. And he'll ultimately just give a smile and he'll say, "Well, Willow, I still am a teenager. I do have time to figure that one out."
It's true. Well, good luck.
Sounds good. So, you join Tally and Taratha, or was there something else you wanted to say, or?
Not to Alistair, I'll go talk to Zola, but that doesn't have to be
Yeah.
right this second. That doesn't have to be right this second. It can be in the morning or something like that. If other people want to take their own scenes, that'd be great.
Yeah. So let's have what Tali and Taratha are discussing while Willow is talking with Alistair.
This is a 120-year-old Bordeaux. I typically don't like to touch this bottle, but given that we just faced arguably the most powerful wizard in town, which now makes me arguably, if not the most powerful, one of the most powerful wizards in town, I think this calls for a special occasion.
Tali's facial expression when you say that is very much like, well, that was easy. And is very concerned, actually, at this point, about the fact that he was considered the most powerful wizard in town.
He was a level 20 wizard.
She doesn't like the fact that she now has to grapple with the idea that she must be one of the most powerful people in the world. It's very unnerving to her. She doesn't like it. Like, she's having a little bit of an identity crisis. Yeah. So Tali doesn't say anything because she does all of her work internally. Very opposite of me myself. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, stuck with a sarcastic look on her face of existential crisis. So there you go.
You get a bit of. It's going to sound a little bit weird when you drink this, but think about tanned leather. You kind of get that in the back. It's very, though, it's that being said, it's very fruit forward. You get a nice little cherry, nice little dark, deep cherry. It's quite lovely. With how old it's been sitting, you still get that real strong hit of alcohol. It's really just fantastic Bordeaux.
She holds a glass of wine in her hand without drinking it.
Cheers to I don't know, to us, to all that we have accomplished.
And as you're cheering to a good fight well done, Willow walks in.
Yeah, what are we cheering?
To supremacy.
God.
What? Who's supreme?
We are.
And you're like, Will lets out my ass. No, we just picked the right friends. That guy was.
Do you think that's not part of the game?
We beat up a lonely wizard. Do I think that's part of the game? What game?
A power.
I'm not overly interested in winning that game.
You're certainly playing it, though.
Maybe more appropriately is that I've found myself involved. I mean, if it wasn't for you, I'd still be just running a bookshop.
True. Involved as you may be, you are still playing. If you come up and are dealt cards and then you play with them, you're playing the game. You're part of this now. So here, cheers. Welcome.
I'll take a drink.
That's the thing about power. It's continually a vacuum, just whether or not you resist its ebbs and flows.
Well, I hope I can keep resisting then.
Well, we all eventually fail, but until that day.
Until that day.
And you all enjoy a good glass of wine.
Well, I don't know if Tali's enjoying it, but
That's true. That's true. Or the
yeah, no, I don't
company of
know.
one another and your existential crises. Tali has, chain demons waiting for her on the other side of the desert. You have quite a fight ahead of you. But hey, at least having this sort of confirmation that you're one of the most powerful people at this continent, well, that's got to help for the fight against the angels, right?
It really doesn't.
again, I think that we took a wizard off guard and we beat him up. Like, we beat up a dweeb who lost his glasses. Like,
But the thing is that there is zero reason in her mind that she now not even backed by a god of death, right? Like not even backed by that guy can turn this lich's dudes like immediately. It's just like she's just not prepared for her powers to be what they are. She's like, I just want to go not be in existence. But she doesn't really have a choice, so that's
Right.
not really an option to go hibernate at this point. So she's just gonna do these things. But she is definitely feeling like it should not have been that easy. Like,
Well, that's the
I
thing
think
is,
I think it
it
makes you
shouldn't have
feel
been
more.
that easy. But look at how powerful we are. Look at how much we have overcome. If this were a myth, this might be considered our last labor before we actually move on to ascension, which quite literally is what's on the horizon. So, um, buckle up, Buttercup.
I think you're misreading it, Taratha. I think it's the opposite. We are not nearing ascension. Instead, what we just proved was that no matter how powerful you become, you're just a couple people who decide that they want you dead, away from being dead. You,
We're
just like
about to
me.
fight angels and open up a new realm and bring upon a meteor to the world. I think it's quite literally the closest we're going to get to ascension.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, but Willow took the opposite. Not that we're so powerful, but wow, people are really fucking fragile. Like this guy,
Really?
spent his whole life trying not to die, and we just walk in and kill him.
Bear in mind, you had all the right tools and took away his simulacrum that was going to also be doing buffs and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. No. We did a good job, no doubt about it. I'm more just saying that like does that make sense? Like
Oh
instead of
yeah,
looking at wow, we're
absolutely.
so powerful we kill a lich, it's like no, wow, we are so fragile. Like life is so fragile that even someone as powerful as a lich can just be gone like that. And we could be gone just like that.
Yep. So what time do y'all turn in and where do you go
I
to
don't
turn
know.
in?
You tell us.
I don't control your
It's been a
characters.
busy night. I don't know what time. If I rushed home, would it be like 4 a.m.? Like I
No,
don't know.
it's it's around 11 o'clock ish.
Okay.
see, that's
So
the whole thing. Like, we did all of that, and we're still gonna essentially get home for dinner. Like,
Oh yeah, because it was the night before that we went around at 10 or 11 to.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's go home. I'm gonna bring ice cream.
Sounds good.
I mean, they're not gonna get any for a while after this.
That's true. And then Tali, I imagine you go to the caravan. Taratha, are you staying at Alistair's?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me know if there's something specific that you each want to do in this evening because you are going to be heading out in the morning. So
Finishing that bottle of Bordeaux.
nice. Bear in mind, you still have not asked. I don't think that you've asked Alistair to go to the Ashina yet.
Tali, you
I'm
go.
assuming he's gonna come down and talk to me at some point in the night.
That was for the modify memory, which you did already.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's gonna come down and talk to me at some point.
Oh, okay. Then that makes sense. And then I imagine during the day, or you also mentioned wanting to ask Good Boy Buddy. You have not asked Good Boy Buddy yet either, and that's a general you, not that it was Taratha's job to.
Now that
So...
we've killed somebody, I really feel like we should not talk to Good Boy Buddy.
That's fine.
Definitely feel like that is like too close for comfort.
Yep, but I just did want to kind of make note of the plans that you had come into the town with, and wanted to make sure that you weren't disappointed that things didn't happen because other things got in the way. But let us deal with Zola first, and then we'll deal with Tali, and then with Taratha.
Was there something you wanted that
Hmm?
that you wanted to say to Tali, Eric? Sorry, you had started a sentence. And then...
Oh, I said Tali first. I'm gonna go grab some water. That's what I said.
I got you. I see.
Oh, okay.
But I'm back now. I you know.
Great.
So you want me to talk to Zola? That's the scene.
Yeah, just to give, because I'm not sure if Leia had anything planned, but just to give the other players time to plan what they want to say and do.
I mean, not really. Like, she would make sure everyone's ready to go and like all that jazz, but other than that...
Sounds good. Then, Willow, you get what kind of ice cream, and do you get some for Kuen as well?
Yep, mint chocolate chip.
Nice. And you walk into the shop, and Zola's favorite joke to make after hours is, "Welcome to the Steady Quill. How can I help you?"
Well, I would like to see two young ladies. I have some sweets for them.
Well, ain't that a treat? And there's a moment where she swaps, and you could kind of tell, like in the brief moment, that because there's a posture change, and you see that Quen is inhabiting Zola's body at that moment, and then they swap back, and that's kind of her way of communicating without necessarily having to like shout or use any sort of message. And after that brief moment, you hear footsteps coming from down the stairs, and Quen has a book in her hand, and and a quill in the other. She was practicing writing, and she'll go, "Oh, this is great!" And she'll rush up to you and go, "That one looks different than yesterday. What's this one taste like?"
Tastes good.
And she's learned her lesson. She does not attempt to bite at the ice cream. And Zola will take the other, and she'll go, "This I like this one a lot because it's got a kind of fresh flavor to it, like it's cold and fresh." And the those little bits in it, they ain't bugs. They're these little sweet things. So don't worry about eating it. Tastes good. And she'll look over to Willow and go, "So what were you up to, Aunt Willow? Getting some drinks with your friends?"
Yeah, we did drink a little bit. Yep, had some wine, a Bordeaux.
Is
Fancy
that
word for, just another wine. I love that you pontificate on it so much, and then Willow's just like, "Yep, it's wine." Anyways, go
Yep.
ahead.
No, I was gonna make a joke, but the moment lost. The moment was lost.
Are
Well,
you both ready for the big journey tomorrow? The start of the big journey tomorrow?
I mean, it ain't gonna be that big. We got a teleportation scroll to get back real quick. I guess it's we gotta walk to the Ashinas, but I'm not looking forward to that. But the big walk, well, that's not for us to do.
Well, yeah, I suppose, but it's still a journey.
Yeah,
You got everything you need in town, especially like magical ink and stuff, or any
of course. I made
all
sure,
right.
and especially since I'm teaching, I gotta have lots of those on hand.
It's true.
Those young starting wizards, they don't know their inks from their chalks, I tell you.
All right, you're sure there's nothing else that you need before we leave?
You're saying that like there's something that I should get before I leave.
I'm just double checking because, I mean, you know as well as I do, once you start seeing cactuses, that gold in your pocket means a whole lot of nothing.
That's true. Well, I'll be sure to get up real early if I think of something. Quinn and I will kind of compare notes and make sure
All
that
right.
I'm not leaving anything behind.
You know where I keep my money. If you need anything, just grab it.
Yeah, but you forget, Aunt Willow. I've been teaching privately, so I got a pretty few gold coins in my pocket now.
Yeah, that's good. But it's always nice, you know. You got to think about it from my perspective. It's nice to give a gift to somebody.
So I've been thinking about this new component pouch that looks real nice accessorized with my belt. If I was spending my own money, I wouldn't buy it, but since you're offering,
Yeah, sure. How much is it?
it's 3 gold.
Sure.
And
Get
she,
one for Alcander 6. Get one for Kuhn too.
Cohen,
Quinn.
Coon is a kind of shoulder rest.
I mean, with my accent, Quinn might end up becoming Kuhn.
Yeah, and
Kuhn.
she, true. And she punches the air, and is excited about it, and she'll, kind of cozy up with the ice cream, and she'll talk over, kind of explaining the components pouch to Gwen, and also like reiterating the sort of value of it, because the Ashina from the Ashina city don't really have a concept of like monetary value.
Mm-hmm. Well, Quinn, could you excuse us for until we come get you?
Yeah, okay, I gotta practice writing anyway. And she'll
Sounds good.
take her ice cream and head up, and Zola will look over and go, is this gonna be like a grown up talk? Or like a don't fight the big angels talk?
No, I figured I can't stop you if that's what you want to do. Um, and I warmed up to the idea. I brought Quinn here.
That's true. I'm real
I
glad
didn't have.
that we turned things around, because there were a few weeks there I was kind of nervous.
Well, me too. Oh, okay. So I've been kind of meaning to have this talk with you for a while. Oh God, I'm just gonna kind of blurt it all out, and you can just kind of just try to like listen and follow along. And if you have any questions, of course, you can ask. And you don't, if you have any questions that you want to ask after tonight, that's fine too. But let's go ahead and let's talk about your ma.
What do you mean about Mama?
Well, yeah. So, do you remember when? Yeah. All right. So you remember when I started like adventuring with Taratha on that first adventure we went on?
Yeah.
Well, when we got back, we were I happened to find some files on your ma's death, and it turned out that it wasn't what we thought. Your your mom was murdered.
And I mean, she's kind of dumbstruck. She doesn't respond. She might like say like a couple of half half started words, but just can't really form her thoughts. And
I'll like
but
put my hand on like her knee or her hand and just kind of hold it.
well, mm, but who murdered her? If she was murdered,
Well,
we got to get him.
it was one of the artificers and this wizard guy. The
Why
artificer.
would an
Go
artificer
ahead.
kill my mom? We're just normal folk, and they're like kings and stuff.
It.
What did she ever do?
Yeah, so that was what I was trying to unravel too, because I didn't know that until last night, actually. Um, it turns out they were using the steady quill for their machinations, and trading like illegal books and such through it, or something like that. It's I don't know every detail yet. But yeah, when we got back to town, we started to be able to do the research that we needed to regarding this, and yeah, so did I answer her question? I'm trying to
You
remember what
did,
it was.
yeah. And
All right.
just so you know, as you're talking, you, Willow, like are kind of holding it together okay, but you're almost like involuntarily like crying, like tears are just falling down your cheeks, and it's not you.
Wait. Oh, Zola's like crying, or Zinnia's crying through me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, okay. So sorry. I'm a little overwhelmed. So what we also learned last night was the identity of the person who did the deed.
So we got to tell the authorities then. You're friends with that dog sheriff. You should go let him know and give him a piece of your mind of what happened to my ma.
Yeah, I did something a little more rash.
Sorry.
It's a good line. It's a good line.
I thought I was muted.
Well, what did you do? Did you drag Good Boy Buddy over to where they were? Is Good Boy Buddy okay?
uh, yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's none the wiser. We went and took care of it. We scouted it out last night. At before ice cream, after ice cream, and then we went and we learned that they weren't actually alive anymore. They were undead. You know what that is?
I'm a wizard. I know what undead is, Aunt
Oh,
Willow.
all right, all right. They were an
And she's looking
an
at the ice cream cone in her hand, and she's like, "It was this just a distraction? Is ice cream just code for I'm gonna kill my sister's killer, and I need to pacify her daughter that she left behind so she don't ask questions?
no.
I mean, ice cream's good, Aunt Willow, but geez."
No, I love you, and I just like to give you treats. It's just nothing.
Bullshit.
I and I had told you I'd get you ice cream, so I went and got you ice cream. That's all it was. I could have come back and given you fucking nothing. Um, um, but yeah. So he was what Taratha calls a lich. I guess it's some sort of super powerful wizard who's like made himself undead so that he doesn't they can't die. I mean, unless you stab him through the heart with a sword. She'll let out a little chuckle. So
Y'all just straight up murdered?
as I said, he was already dead. That's my justification. All right.
And
Yeah.
what about the artificer? Are you just gonna murder him too, or her? Which artificer is it?
Which artificer? Willow would know the name.
Darius.
It's Darius.
Already dead, bitches.
We know that.
He doesn't live here anymore. You know, maybe I'll pick up my old bounty hunting ways with him. But I think someone said he had gone to Taizhou or something. But yeah. So there's one more thing. Is she sitting down?
She had been, and now she's standing up, and she's still wondering what she should do with her ice cream at this point. Because she really likes it, but she also is really salty. Um, and
Well, I guess there's two more things, but one more thing, and then the second thing. So sit down. It's all right. It's all right. Um, So, this part, try not to get too upset about, all right?
What else can you lay on me that won't make me more upset? You just told me that my mom was murdered and that y'all were running around murdering back. Like what if good boy Buddy finds out? Then you won't be allowed back in here.
We don't worry. The guy had tons of enemies. It'll be fine. God fuck. Anyways, all I wanted
Are you
to
gonna
do.
tell her that you thought about that beforehand and did it anyway?
No. Anyways, so there was a third person there when your ma died.
Who? Are we gonna get him?
Alistair's father.
That son of a bitch.
Now, before you get upset, let me just note that Alistair himself was absolutely instrumental in us learning this information, and he's been helping me along the way.
Probably because he's guilty and feels guilty, and he ain't helping out of the goodness of his heart.
Of course not. He's helping out of the guilt of it. But remember that Alistair himself had nothing to do with it. He was a baby. Probably wasn't. He was your age. Or no, he wasn't. He is your age, right?
Yeah, he's like 3 years older.
Yeah, he was. He was just a. He was just a toddler when all this happened, and he didn't know about it for a really long time. And he has spent his life trying to get away from the shadow of his father.
Maybe he should just start his own family line if he wanted to get out of the shadow of his father.
Maybe.
Or maybe stop being such a dumb noble. And she kind of like finds something on the table next to her that's like insignificant and just kind of like flicks it across the table.
I'll let that go for
Since
now.
Stop skulking around here thinking that he's doing right just because he's clearing his own conscience.
Yeah, but it's good to have friends. Alistair's my friend, and I think he's your friend too.
He ain't my friend.
Sure. Anyways, so do you wanna? I don't know how this really works, but do you want to see her?
Like, you're gonna dig her up?
Okay, you don't take everything so literally. Jeez,
You
you're a wizard.
you just talked about necromancy, and you fought a lich.
Do I seem like the person who is practicing necromancy, or the person who kills those who
no,
practice
but
it?
you're friends with Taratha, and at this point, I don't know what she will and won't do.
I never know what she's gonna do either. Who disconnected? Was that Kelly? Okay, good. I never know what she's gonna do either. Anyways, no, I went to the place where your mom died, which I didn't know where it was until yesterday, and I communed with her.
How?
I don't know. I don't know how this spiritual stuff works, to be honest, but my spirit and hers, they intertwined, and like there's just tears like flowing down my face. These aren't even my tears, these are hers.
Can I finish my ice cream first?
Yeah. You can take however much time you need.
And she'll walk out of the room and kind of like hide away for a couple minutes, and you hear like the sound of like water as she's like washing her hands. And she probably didn't eat the ice cream, but she wasn't gonna just hold the ice cream while she looked at her dead mother. And so she comes back a couple minutes later, looking a little nervous, and she'll go, so is it like with me and Quinn, like she'll take over you and I talk to her through you?
Maybe something like that. Your mom didn't go to the same place that I guess most of us go when we die. Her spirit went to the astral plane, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess when I'll die and when she dies, we'll be off to the astral plane rather than the plane of dreams.
I mean,
but,
from what I hear of
yeah.
it ain't terrible. The astral plane, like that's where most people go. I was
Right?
kind of
Well,
surprised to find that I was gonna go to Planet Dreams.
but let's see if I can channel her, and I guess I'll try it first to swap. I guess if that's possible. I was just going to summon the echo.
Yeah,
But
you would only be able to summon the echo.
can the echo talk or anything?
It cannot.
All right. Can I talk to her, or should I just bring Kuen to the place where we can where she did talk to me?
Yeah, you could do that. And you could bring Zola there.
So I'll
Because that
bring
would be the
Zola
only
there.
place that you would be able to talk with her.
I'll bring Zola there then, and I'll show her the echo and say like, we're linked this way, but we can't talk so much. But here in this alley is like where you can really talk to her. So why don't you just sit down and close your eyes and try to feel her presence.
And she'll do that. And when you project your echo this time, you will be able to like she'll be able to talk with it. And like for I hate being the DM in situations like this, especially when it's so emotionally charged, because it's like, oh, here I am entertaining you all with silly voices, because they're both NPCs. Um, but Zola actually she doesn't have a lot of questions for her mom. She just tells her about the steady quill, tells her about all the things that she's doing, kind of keeps her up to date with what's going on. And like Zinnia doesn't do a whole lot of talking. You could tell that she's enjoying just being able to listen to her. And at the end of it all, there's a hug, and she says how proud she is of Zola, and how she's kind of grown more than she could ever hope for, especially at such a young age. And she'll turn to you, Willow, and give you a hug and thank you for being her mom.
Yeah. Willow's being real quiet.
Yep. And Zinnia will stand side by side with you at this point, Willow, and look over to Zola, and she'll go, well, we're definitely gonna kick some angel ass together, aren't we? Looking to both Zola and Willow at that point.
Ideally.
Well, I'll look over both of you and make sure y'all don't end up anywhere near where I am right now. And
Right.
you. And she'll pinch your cheek a little and kind of pull it up just a little bit. And she'll go, don't look so sad.
Me or Zola?
You. And she'll
Okay,
go,
okay.
frowning ages you.
And a little fake smile. Yeah, I'm happy. Just a little overwhelmed.
I suppose it's been quite the week for you.
Yeah, it's only gonna get worse from here.
Well, I am going to admit, Willow, I'll be with you most of the time. But going back to that place that we ran from, I'm gonna be sleeping.
That's fair. I
Unless
wish
you
I could
really
be
need me.
sleeping. Yeah, if I really need you, then I think things won't be going so well.
I mean, you could. What she's meaning is like you can use the Echo Knight to like show like the elders what you can do and kind of use her as a sort of like PowerPoint or point of power rather. But you know, she's definitely not going to be looking in like she's been since you kind of reconvened together. Cause she's like, those people, nah, we ran from there for a reason. I'm not sitting shotgun watching that.
All
And
right. I can end our scene unless there's anything more.
yeah, no, that'll do it.
Right.
Tali, was there something you wanted to do?
No.
Sounds good. And Taratha, as you expected, Alistair will eventually come down to the wine cellar, not necessarily to talk to you, but because he ran out of scotch and now he wants something else to drink. And he'll grab a bottle and look around and he'll go, your friends turned in.
They left a couple hours ago. I think I'm on my definitely through my second bottle, through quite a bit. I'm on the third.
That's quite a lot for you.
Sorry?
And I'm saying that's quite a lot for you. Usually you don't drink that much.
Kept a lot from you, I guess.
I laugh, he doesn't. Well, I know you've kept a lot from me.
Yes and no.
Long, and there's a long pause, and you could tell that he's thinking. And he'll go, for I can't speak on behalf of my mother, but I forgive you.
Well, aren't you gracious?
Yeah.
You want to pilot a mech suit?
Pardon?
It's actually quite literally that.
Bowie.
The how do I summarize this adequately? We need to bring about another meteor, and there are literal angels that want to stop that. So we're going to pilot giant mech suits and fight said angels.
Do it. There's so much potential conflict.
Pardon me for appearing blunt, but is there a reason why I should care? Why I should drop everything that I'm doing here to have another meteor that will. What does it do? Why?
It will, in so many ways, realign the world. Old powers that have been made dormant will reawaken. You know, I think you have been so embroiled in the political machinations of the city that you can't see beyond its border. Um, you're playing court games. trying to arrange herself a marriage, just really silly, futile stuff. I think it would just be good
Marriage
for you
is a
to see
noble
this.
choice to make, Taratha.
Yeah, sure. I think you need to see. I think you need to see something larger than this life that you've built up. You can come back but the world is going to change, and I think you being instrumental in that as opposed to being here will not just give you the perspective to be a leader going forward, but will quite literally put you in charge in a lot of ways.
What will this entail? Is this where you were before? This seems like it's going to take up a lot of my time, is it not?
Actually, I have no idea. We have a teleport scroll, so it won't be traveling through the desert.
He would have to, though. It would be 6 weeks one way.
Well, you will have to take it. You'll have to travel through the desert. Not fun. In the meantime, you can go stop in Brukrol and talk to nobles there about what's going on. Probably appreciate that. Meet up with the Montgomerys. They're heading up there. That actually might make good traveling companions with them. Get reacquainted with.
You know how I feel about them.
I really do. I know, but you're going to be dealing with them regardless. It doesn't really matter how you feel about them. I mean, that's politics, isn't it?
It's a different kind of politics, Taratha. I've made my point clear that I do not want to associate myself with anyone that the Montgomerys or my father is laid in bed with. Figuratively, not literally.
Well, you can take the high road all you want. The high road will eventually undermine itself. That's fine, but regardless, you're going to be probably meeting up with the Montgomerys at the city, so probably better to work out your shit on the way there instead of right before we fight literal angels.
Taratha, I do have to say, you've given me an exceptionally awful way of trying to convince me of putting down my life. A marriage is on the line with this, and I will most likely lose it by leaving for so long. But fortunately I'm sorry?
The marriage doesn't matter. Nothing really matters right now. Everything is kind of... You ever stared into oblivion? Just looked at it in its naked eye?
He'll just grab a second bottle as you start talking about that, and he'll go, "You're lucky your friends are wiser than you. You, enjoy your night, Taratha, and I'll pack for the morning."
Oh, yeah.
It was only because Willow asked what he wanted, and he's like, "I need some soul searching."
Yes!
Because Taratha did not give him any good reason. I mean, she did give him reasons, but not ones that he wanted.
Fuck no.
Eric, as a player, is mildly shipping Zola Alistair, so we gotta ruin that marriage somehow.
Oh my god.
Ditto, a little bit.
Not like, because they're fictional, right? They wouldn't be good for each other IRL, but they're just fictional characters, and so I get to feel powerful when,
See, and what's funny is when I first introduced Alistair, my whole shtick with him was that, like, they would be adjacent, but, like, not, but just enough where Willow would have to worry. And the first time when I like had him express like interest in friendship with Zola, you Eric were like, get away, don't get her roped into anything, keep Alistair the fuck away from her. And now you're like,
well,
I
that's
ship
when
it.
when all I knew of Alistair's family is that they killed her mom.
Uh-huh.
Now I've warmed up to him a little bit.
Solid. But yeah, Taratha, you know that Alistair is going to be going to the mech battle. The only unknown is who will he be fighting with.
Is he gonna go meet up the Montgomerys?
I mean, they're fighting with each other. Like, they're married.
Is he gonna go? Well, duh. But is he gonna go meet up and like, travel with them and talk about shit? Enjoying this new like world order.
He might. But that still doesn't say who he's fighting with in the suit. But that's a problem for next week, us.
Well, that's a problem for this week, or like between now and next week, Kelly.
No. Well, that was actually one of the things, like the character development points for him, is that he's going to look around at everyone who has their drift compatible partners, and he has none of them because he is essentially a lonely, lonely person who has focused his life on undoing the sorts of things that his father has done without necessarily making any sort of true connections for himself as a person.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So there you go. But yeah. Morning breaks. You're all gathering with one another. Tali, you have your caravan, and at this point still, you are expecting to be drift compatible with Taratha. Taratha, you are not leveling up, but I will give you the one spell. Are you choosing to talk about it now or later?
Later, for sure, later.
Sounds good. So the caravan will be quite behind you all in terms of arriving at the city, but they're pretty much gearing up to leave today. And luckily for you, I mean, your character doesn't know this yet, but there's one odd person out, so you figured, we'll figure it out when we get there. Maybe there's someone from the Ashina that doesn't have a soulmate because someone from Willow's clan said no. So you have one extra just in case. What do y'all do?
There needs to be someone to cook anyways, while everyone's out fighting.
Yep. And just to I just made this character. His name is Clint. He is a purple tiefling with cotton candy pink hair. And he is a very good archer. And he was picked up from Taizhou during a caravan trip, and he's just kind of a cool guy that sticks around and keeps to himself.
Where's Cleek and Akadito?
They're with them. But once again, they have to travel the desert. All right. So, anything you want to do before you get to the Ashina clan?
Yeah, go talk to good boy Buddy.
Okay. Is it going to be the whole crew?
I'll avoid this one. Oh, but God, if I let Taratha talk to good boy Buddy by herself, can I make it any better? If Taratha does something that I really dislike, answer no. I will let Taratha handle this.
And Tali?
Yeah, no, Tali's not a good enough liar to even kind of approach that. So
sounds good. So you approach the station, you leave your components and your books as usual, and you go to the office of Good Boy Buddy. And as you open the door, you hear, or rather, you look up, or he looks up and sees you, and you hear the slight thumping of his tail on the chair, and he'll go, "Oh, Taratha, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while."
It's been some time. How have you been?
Well, it's been a very busy night for me. There's been an unfortunate happening that I'm not privileged to talk about, but it's been keeping me very busy.
Really?
Hmm.
Well, if I can be of any assistance, you know how to find me.
Of course. I was speaking with Willow not too long ago. I see that you were all back for whatever. Is Tali back as well?
Yes, she's with her caravan.
That is good. Willow said she was quite busy, but I do have some jobs just outside of the city if you wanted to get the old, you know, gold ringing.
Do
And
tell.
they're all under 150 gold, so we don't have to deal with the transition of paperwork. There's some nasty beasts in the tunnels a little east of the city. There are some there's a bridge that has fallen, and I know that it would take a long time to be built through mundane means, but maybe a smart wizard like yourself would be able to solve that in a quicker time frame.
There's a bridge that has fallen and can't get up.
I hate you.
I had to. It was mandatory.
That's all fine and dandy, but I've actually come to you with a job, so to speak.
Well, I appreciate that. Is it a like a 1 day job? Because I do have quite, and he'll motion to his office. This does keep me quite busy.
No, this is more like a 2-month job.
Well, I do appreciate you coming to me
Shooting
for
your
help,
shot.
Taratha. But I can't abandon my post.
Let me break this down for you. We are on the verge of a, how to put this, a divine cosmic clash. The forces of a long lost civilization are going to be attempting to ascend into a dream realm, but to do so, they must conquer the angels of the god Grong. Gong, that's his name, Gong?
Gond.
Gong. Doing this will, of course, bring about another meteor, which sounds bad, but is actually a very good thing in that it will restore a lot of the order of this world that had previously been undone. And I came to you because I think you would be a terrific fit in these mech suits that we will be piloting to fight said angels.
This meteor, I became me because of the meteor.
Exactly.
Will this meteor make me not me anymore?
I'm gonna roll an Arcana check. That's going to be a 23.
I mean, what are you trying to discern? Because this is
If
very
another
uncharted.
meteor would undo his sentience.
I mean, Taratha hasn't encountered anything that would definitively say yes or no. But you do know that these meteors are essentially opening chakras in the earth. So instead of inhibiting magic, they are making things more magical, but each time it has a sort of residual effect.
I will say that exactly. And I'll add and say, odds are this really won't affect you in terms of your sentience or your corporeality.
But will it affect others? Might it make other people who could have been like me, but maybe they were missed in the first meteor.
Potentially. I mean, we're dealing with forces literally outside of my control or knowledge.
And what will happen if you said we're fighting angels? Why are we fighting angels? Should this planet not be protected by them instead of attacked?
That's the job of some angels. Angel is more of a kind of creature more than anything than it's a celestial body, less more than a kind of moral or ethical designation.
And what will happen if the angels win?
Well, I don't really want to find out. And I know you have a lot of questions, and they're very good questions. But I don't think I could do a good job answering them. I'd much rather have you there so you can find out for yourself.
Roll me a persuasion check.
That's going to be a...
Important.
Yeah.
No, roll the 17 plus 6, 23.
Good boy buddy will look around the office and the biggest motivation is the fact that he gains sentience from this, and if there's a chance for other people to kind of have the same benefits that he now has, that's his main driving force right now. And good boy buddy will stand up and just kind of close his books and put it together. Put it away rather, and he'll go, well, I've always done this precinct good because they can always trust me to be there on time and have my work done. I pride myself in being good boy buddy. But I suppose for the next few months, I'll be bad boy buddy. And he'll just we'll fast track it, but he'll ask the questions of how do I where do I go, what do I do, all that stuff, and you'll give him the skinny, and he will join the others. Maybe he'll go with Alistair down south or something, or
he can go with the goblins. That'd be a cute little side
true.
adventure.
Yep, so it'll be him and the gobs. Sounds good to me. And we're back to the caravan and Tali, and everyone's sort of gathering up outside a city, while Taratha will join them shortly. And Zola will kind of sidle up to Tali, and then she'll go, so, you excited, Tali?
No.
Well, why not? I mean, I guess I wouldn't be so excited if I had Taratha as my co-pilot.
War and battle aren't really something I get excited about. They are jobs that need to be done, but they are not positive.
Well, what does get you excited, Tali?
Traveling the desert away from people.
Well, you got a whole lot of stuff you don't like ahead of you, I guess.
Yup.
But on the bright side, maybe you could take the long way back home when it's all done and we come out of this on the other side. You could take a nice long walk.
Yeah, it'll depend on who's left, but sure.
Maybe with your new friends Rock and Gravel.
I hope to be rid of them at the end of this.
Oh, that's rude.
That's a lie.
No, it's very true. She likes Rock and Gravel, but they're also representations of
Yup.
her tie to this demon, and
I hate
so
children from their daddy. That's just bad thinking.
they're fine people. Just I'd rather not be tied to any greater being, and they are representations of that.
I suppose. That's why you gotta be a wizard for your magic, Tolly. We don't gotta make deals with no one or pray to no one.
If I simply had no magic, that would also be fine.
That's true. But if you weren't so phobic of books, and she'll take out her wizard book and chomp it like it's like biting. And you read a little more. And then she'll like give a chomp on your arm when like you don't really react the way that she wants to react.
I can be a better person like Taritha.
All right, you made your point.
As like a mild aside from that conversation, it kind of makes me feel like Tolly was like born to be a druid, but ended up being a cleric because of circumstances.
That is so true.
The circumstances were D&D 5e does shit with rangers. Because that's what she probably would have been. Actually,
the revised ranger is okay, but yeah, for the most part, not the best.
Yeah, that's what she would have been if I would have. If I could have, that would have been the choice. But I'm a power gamer at heart, so that wasn't an option.
Big feels.
Oh my god! Just a total aside, Siobhan has just like blown up my inbox.
Yup.
There's like 8 emails.
I got like 4 or 5.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I got some from Stuart as well. But anyway.
Oh, he finally responded.
He did. That's because at the Serious Play meeting, I'm like, "Hey, Stuart."
I'm gonna remind
ring.
everyone nicely that we are on air.
That is true.
I'll be careful about what.
I don't feel like anything that I said isn't something that I wouldn't say to their face.
Sure.
But yeah. What I would say, I'll go to Siobhan and go, yeah, you blew up my inbox at 3:00. But anyway, we're in the desert. Yeah. And give me a survival check to get there. It's a couple days journey.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I need dice. Dice are a thing that I have in my life. Oh, that's an 18 on the die, so it's like 28 or something.
Oh yeah. In record time, you are able to help guide your small crew, because I imagine the caravan's not joining you for this particular part. So you know, on day 3, you head a little bit north while they continue due west. And you get to the outskirts of the Ashina clan. It'll be the 3 of you, Zola, Kuen, and the scouts that I think there's 4 of them that the Ashina city left with, so that they can watch over while the others are fighting. So what's the plan?
I think I missed something. The plan to just get there, or the plan once we get there?
Once you get there, you are there.
Okay.
So how do you plan on selling this to
Well, first we gotta exchange pleasantries.
Yep. So you go straight.
Zola is definitely a think as you go kind of character.
Yeah, that's totally fine. So 1 second. I just gotta find my notes. There we go. So Willow goes to the elder's tent. And the elder there is named Ali. And she gives a wave when you enter, and she'll go, "You know, I thought I would not see you again." especially after the little one ran.
Well, here I am. She'll let out a little smile.
And what about Anya? She's not with you.
She's alive. She got won over by the oh god, what did they call them?
Ashina.
By the other Ashina clan, and is staying to help them with a conflict they are soon to be embroiled in.
What do you mean by won over?
I mean that she looked at the arguments that they presented, and she determined that that she could help in this conflict, and that she wanted to aid them.
And what is this conflict and what are these arguments, Willow?
That's a good question. So, and for the sake of brevity,
Yeah.
I assume the way I describe it doesn't matter too much, but I will explain that they're, the basics of the conflict, as well as, some stuff about the mechs, and I will end it, and now we'll jump back in to the actual role play, and I'll say, and that's kind of where you get involved, because you see, they got these giant robots. They're mechs. I don't know what to call them. They're like bigger versions of us, and they're made of metal. They were pretty neat, I guess, if you're into that kind of thing. But you see that they're having a problem. They don't have enough pilots.
But they are an entire city, are they not?
Yeah, I don't get it either. You the DM can't answer me that question. If you the DM can't answer the question for me when I ask.
I answered that question, but I just needed to throw it back at you for fun.
I will give your answer, which I still don't remember right now because it was like a month ago.
There's enough people, but not enough soldiers that have soulmates to pilot it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, you see, they don't have a soldier culture like we do, and so that's part of their problem. So I have come at the behest of their leaders and of Anya to request that you join us in this battle.
And how do you feel about this, Willow? I know you are an outsider at this point to us, but you are still, at your core, one of us. I do value what you think.
Do you want to know how what I think of it, or how I feel about it?
I value one more than the other, but I will listen to both.
And she'll sit down. I think that there's always going to be conflict, and it's very difficult to tell which conflict is worth being dragged into. Do I know for certain that this conflict is worth it? No. I can't give you that guarantee. I'd be lying if I said I could. I don't want to lie to you. Don't lie to them, by the way. They get really mad about it. Oh my god. But something inside of me, something I feel, tells me that this is my fight to fight. And of course, it doesn't help that people I care about are going to be fighting in it. And that'll typically turn the scales a little bit. Anya will be there fighting in it.
I'm glad that you feel that way about Anya. Your time with us, reunited, has strengthened your spirit. She's totally misinterpreting what you said here.
I'm gonna let her misinterpret.
Yep.
So the request stands. They are requesting warriors from our tribe to come aid in the fight and learn how to pilot these mechs. They believe that members of their clan are soulmates, as I noted before, with some members of our clan. Now, their initial worry was that we would have trouble with food and things, and they've offered to send hunters to aid aid in protecting the clan. But these are these aren't warrior people, I guess, So to them, I guess hunter just means somebody who kills deer. But for us, everybody's a hunter. But they've offered to help take care of things here, and I think that in and of itself is maybe a valuable cultural commodity for our people to rekindle some relationship with the other clan, because the world is, strange enough, it's shrinking. I'm sure you felt it too. And it now is probably more important than ever to have some friends.
Well, Willow, I think that as evidenced by us still welcoming you back, and to be honest, while I am greatly disappointed in Zola, I would still have her back here. So I think it is important for us to aid our sisters in the West, and their help here shows that they are asking in good faith. We will send our strongest, and we will go from there.
That's great. Thank you.
And give me an insight check.
I insight like a 28, and they're like, "Nah, fuck that. We're not sending anybody."
No.
Oh God, my insight checks have been awful today. 12.
I mean,
I have a +8, so this haven't been
Jesus.
good.
Yeah. I mean, even with the 12, like you can tell that like she's thinking that they're doing them the favor by doing this, and after dealing with Gaztash that like they think they're doing you the favor by forgiving your ancestors and welcoming you into their city. So there's definitely going to be some interesting clashes, not terrible ones, but just like the fuck, who do you think you are? We're the ones helping you, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's history of human relationships 101.
yeah.
Sounds good though. Wow,
All
that was
right.
easy.
Yeah.
Got it.
No, I mean it wasn't meant to be easy. You just said good stuff. So, and in a way that like was convincing for them.
Yeah,
So,
well, they are my tribe. I did invent them.
that is true.
By the way, how are Zola and Alistair getting along?
I thought Alistair was not.
I
Actually,
thought
no,
was
he would. You know what? Then no, because he's going to Bucrel, and
okay.
yeah, so
they'll meet at they'll see each other at the thing. I was just curious of how Zola reacts to seeing Alistair.
you just want to ship them harder. I get it.
No,
It's
no,
fun.
no, no, no. Like, this is less about the shipping, and I'm curious about if like Zola's gonna like fly off the handle or something. She is actually related to Willow, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
And Willow just kills people.
No, that'll be something we'll resolve.
Then at a later time. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, unless there's any other prescient things that I have to do here, I thought I'd have to do some sort of like trial by combat or something. So
No, that's next. Anyway, so here's a question. Because you can teleport to the city at this point, you don't have to. But I'm also curious what y'all. I want to be on the same page with all the loot that you've had so far and give us time to sort of like work that out. Because I want to make sure, Willow, you have the docent and walloping ammunition in your inventory. Taratha, you should have those 4 additional spells in your book: the Fortune's Favor, Gravity Sinkhole, Gift of Alacrity, and Wrist Pocket.
And the lightning.
Yep, that's the one that's coming for doing this. So yes, that was my next one, so hold off on that. Tali, you should have Bag of Bounty, the Handy Spice Pouch, and the Belt of Dwarven Kind. And then, what was I gonna say? For where the hell is it? For Willow, you can choose between having telekinesis or synaptic static. That was your reward for helping gather the Ashina. And then Tali, you can choose between mental prison, storm sphere, or conjure celestial or conjure fiend, whichever one. It'll be the same rules as celestial, but it can be a fiend just because you are with the archdevil right now. So I wanted to make sure that y'all have that in your inventories before we move forward, because you're getting your legendary weapons when you return, and I wanted to make sure that you had all that accounted for.
So I can cast telekinesis once per day, is what you're saying?
Yep, or synaptic static, whichever one.
Telekinesis.
I love telekinesis.
Yeah, it's just more interesting. Synaptic static, right, is just like a pile of damage, which I can just do in a turn by like shooting something, right? But telekinesis is like, shoot, I need to grab that thing before it falls off the cliff. Telekinesis, it has a lot of utility.
Yep, absolutely.
And for a fighter, I mean, you just lock somebody down and then just wail on them, right?
Oh yeah. Cool. Any questions before, or anything that you want to do before teleporting?
Those options are somewhere in the D&DM's chat, right? I'm gonna just go up and like.
Here, I'll send it in the DDM's chat in Discord right now, so you can pick between one of those 3 spells.
And I'm gonna look up the docent quick. I assume that's in, I don't know which chat, but not in you and I's personal chat, because I just looked up docent and it wasn't there.
It's if you scroll up in the DDM's chat in Discord, because it has random properties.
Discord.
Yeah, because it has random properties such as what skills and languages it has. So I rolled for that to see what skills it had.
Okay. Gaztash as the name.
Oh no, that's not its name. That's the name of the elder.
Yep. Okay. All right. I will go ahead and I will copy and paste this into another chat so I have it somewhere else, and then I will copy and paste it onto a Word document.
Yep.
But yeah. So I got that going. So yeah, so I think I already had everything in my inventory. 40 walloping bullet.
All right. Anything that you want to do or clear up before you go to the city?
Not that I can think of. Anything you guys want?
Nope.
All right. So y'all teleport your way out, and go and end up in the city. You're just outside of the Elders' Hall, where Goztash and the Council is. How do you approach?
Yo.
Ha. I mean, that works. Goztash will look at you all, give an approving nod. She doesn't typically smile. And she will go, "Oh, you are back sooner than I expected.
Yeah, we were quick.
I appreciate that."
We even killed a lich on the way back, so we've been busy.
Interesting. I did not expect.
Holly looks at you like you're fucking insane.
I'm just joking. I don't actually say that.
Okay. Then she will go, "Well, I suppose the rewards are in order." And this is the stuff that we just went over. Pray tell, how many fighters can we expect?
Looks like I'll say my amount. I don't actually know the amount off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
I have 4 coming your way.
That would be 4 pairs, or yeah, 4 pairs. So it'd be 8. And then Tali, I'm just trying to find you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs. Plus the extra, so yeah, 5.5. And she will go, that is quite good. Your training will begin tomorrow. You will acquaint yourselves with the weapons. You will find them in the vault. When you are acquainted, we have a longer discussion to have about where the meteor goes.
Do you choose or do we get to choose?
We will discuss, but we want your input. And above table, you get to choose, but at role play wise, there's a discussion. But whatever y'all choose between the 3 of you is what they will eventually come to as a conclusion as a council as well. But you are shown to the vault, and I also put in the DDM's chat your legendary weapons. Taratha, yours is the Platinum Tiara. It's a +2. It has a sapphire set in the center. It is a +2 spellcasting focus. You can store a level 5 spell slot in it or lower. If the spell is not used within 48 hours, you have to recast it into the gem. Once per day, the gem can cast a shield spell as a free action in response to you being hit. This does not consume your reaction. And as a bonus action, you could have the gem cast Stone Skin or a modified version of Mage Armor. Both effects last up to 1 hour, and the gem must maintain concentration. It does not take up your concentration. However, anytime you take damage, the gem must pass a Constitution saving throw, and it has a +2 modifier.
Wait, let me get this straight.
Go ahead.
I can put a level 5 or below spell in it, and it can hold its concentration, and then I have a separate concentration.
Correct.
Oh, hot diddly death.
Sorry, no. The concentration is only for Stone Cold Bitch.
What is modified mage armor?
So the modified mage armor wreaths your body in ice and grants you +2 to AC. So rather than making it 13 plus Dex, it just grants a +2.
Okay. All right.
So
that makes sense.
the saving this for later does not have it uses your concentration, but the stone skin, which does typically use your concentration, does not use your concentration.
All right, and then one final question. So this does this work like a spell gem where you have to you actually expend the spell slot to put it in the thing?
Correct. So okay. And you have to use it within 48 hours or it's lost. So the day before a big battle, you'll cast it using one of your free spell slots, long rest, and then it's there.
Pretty nice.
So that's in the DDM's chat.
Dope.
Tali, you have a holy magic book, but it's not like a total proselytizing magic holy book, and it's titled "Spells Don't Care About Your Feelings." It's a +2 spellcasting focus. Your healing spells can deal either healing or damage. For ranged heals, your range is now doubled. Touch heals now have a range of 30 feet. The second effect is if a messenger of a deity visits you on behalf of the deity, you may trap it using the rules of Soul Cage. You can then expend 1 charge from the options of that spell. After the charge is used, the messenger is free and you cannot use this option on them for 24 hours. And then as an action, you could attempt to turn a creature's immunity into a vulnerability. The creature must make a DC 18 Constitution saving throw to save against this effect. So let's say they are immune to fire damage. Well, you can hopefully change that into a vulnerability where they take double damage of that instead.
Okay.
And then Willow, you get a +2 handgun that does 1d10 piercing, range of 120 to 40. It has 6 rounds. 1 bullet in the chamber always doesn't come out right. Roll a d6, and that is the poison bullet in the chamber. If that bullet hits, the target must make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or take an additional 3d6 poison damage and is poisoned until the end of its next turn. On a success, it takes half damage and is not poisoned.
Slick.
As a bonus action, you may magically transport bullets that are on your person into the chamber of this weapon. The ammunition magically fits into the chamber. You can only use this when the chamber is completely empty. And
I have a
then,
question.
go ahead.
Can I still use my action to reload it?
You can. This is just if you.
Just because it only takes 1 attack to reload a weapon, right? So in theory, I have 3 attacks per round. So and there might be a situation where
You only get. Well, no, like if you take the attack, like you can only make the extra attacks when you make the attack action. It's
yeah,
a really.
that's what kind of sucks.
No. That's how guns work in D&D. Period. You can expend an attack when you have extra attack to reload. That's rules as written.
I believe you, but can you send it to me just so that I'm able to?
I'll get it. So my question was just, can I still do that?
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You can.
Sometimes I don't have a bonus action, and this is great. Sometimes I maybe want to use my boots of speed, right? Or or the what's it called? The fighting spirit, right? Get some health back or something.
Absolutely. And then last but not least, once per day, you can choose a bullet that has hit its target. The target must succeed on a DC 15 charisma saving throw or be bound to the plane and cannot be more than 120 feet of you until the next dawn. You can choose to end this effect early. So those are your legendary weapons.
Awesome. I like bounding a character to a plane.
Yup.
It's like, nope, you can't. No, you're stuck here with me now. I
Yup.
can't wait until there's a role play opportunity where like we have got a prisoner and I just shoot them once per day and make them and force them to saving throw, so that way I can just keep them bound to me.
Good lord. All right. So you now have your legendary weapons. And the council is going to ask you to return. And they're going to go over the options. Now, I'm going to send this in the DDM's chat on Discord. So each location will make a certain effect. And this is where you get to sort of affect the world and also what's going to affect the characters that we're going to return to. Now, there are going to be drawbacks that will happen because of any one of these things, but I'm not telling you what those are. I'm only going to tell you the cool thing that will happen as a result of this. So, if you choose to open the chakra that is connected to the Shadowfell, there will be more knowledge protectors and Raven Queen-esque things. So, like those guardian nagas that you encountered early in the campaign. Or we could talk about the elemental plane. Elemental-based spells have a boost and nature is better protected. The celestial chakra, there will be more prevalence of god-based classes and abjuration magic. You can do the Feywild. Trickery magic is more accessible, and Fey can now travel freely back and forth. There's the Nine Hells. The world will have more protection from demons and devils. Or the Plane of Dreams, more contact between the ancients and people who are living currently, and like between those two groups, and more knowledge spread of ancient civilization through dreams.
I would say that Willow would inherently, as a character, be more interested in the dreams one, but she's obviously willing to. She wants to hear what you guys are thinking too.
I think it's pretty obvious what Tabitha wants.
Yeah.
Oh, the Nine Hells.
Elemental would be Tali's, but
I know.
she doesn't actually care all that much. She still thinks this is like, she's still not sure this is the best plan, but also doesn't really have a choice at this point in terms of not getting murked by a demon if she.
So we only get to open one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we okay. So
And just so you know, the quote unquote negative effect will be contingent on which plane it is. It's not like, oh, there's one effect no matter which one you choose. Like,
Yeah,
I just did not want to tell you what the drawback is for each of them.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
Well, so our gut is between Plane of Dreams, Nine Hells, and Elemental. And so we can cut out the Fel, Celestial, and Feywild, and then we're down to 3.
Yeah.
Do we want to fight for it? Roll for initiative? No, I'm just kidding. Do we want to like roll for it or something, or do we want to have a discussion?
I'd much rather have a discussion about it than leave it to a roll.
Sounds good. So, why do you want the Nine Hells?
I believe that's why I was sent here.
She thinks that one day she won't be a disappointment to her daddy.
You can mock me, and that's fine, but I would much rather not be eternally tormented. I think that's a pretty high priority item for me. That aside, I would much rather keep this realm closer than try to continue to block it off. It seems as though they have ways of finding their way here regardless.
I guess I just kind of hear the word Nine Hells and I kind of get a little spooked, you know?
Well, we are literally fighting angels, so I don't think we can necessarily say devils are bad or angels are bad or
It's not about bad. It's just doesn't it spooks you a little, you know?
Well, that's the Christian morality seeping through. So,
Sorry.
Wow.
so I think we need to do what's in the best interests
Bowie.
going forward, and if this will offer protection going forward, I think that's our best option. To learn to live with this presence than to either ignore it or to fight it.
All right. Counterpoint. These things have happened in the past, and if we connect to the plane of dreams and open up that chakra, we may learn how ancient peoples dealt with these things. And that could give us an advantage.
I mean, we're seeing it in the present. They didn't deal with it well, clearly.
Well, I mean, a lot of time has passed, Taratha.
Indeed. Talia, what are you feeling? You are beholden, tied, tethered. I don't know what the exact right word is, but you are in cahoots with my father.
Fair. But he said just allowing the getting the sorry, wow. Getting the meteor to drop will help him. Which chakra to open was never discussed.
He will find his way in regardless. So to offer some sort of protection, I think that behooves us.
Well, seems like we're at a little bit of an impasse.
A bit.
I don't know if there's necessarily like
Kelly, can you go through the perks of the 3 one more time?
Yeah.
They're on the chat as well. Okay.
Oh, they are?
Yeah,
Shit.
but I'll also read it out because, you know, if someone's ever like listening, it makes for better audio. So with Elemental Plane, the element base spells get a boost. Nature is also better protected. With the 9 Hells, the world will have more protection from demons and devils. And with the Plane of Dreams, there will be more contact between the ancients and the people living currently, and more knowledge will be spread of ancient civilization through the dreams that the people living now will
Gotcha.
have.
Question. So when you say nature is better protected, could you like define that a little bit better for me?
Yeah, so the elementals that exist on this earth right now will have more of a boost, so that if there are people like, because it's pretty much protecting nature, essentially, like think about like forest spirits and things of that sort of ilk. um so think about things that happened in the Taijo bogs that would not have happened if the nature was protected.
That wouldn't affect Willow's decision making, but I would say Willow's second choice would be Elemental over Nine Hells.
I understand the hesitance and the resistance to opening up our world to the Nine Hells, but it does offer us protection, some protection from its denizens.
Do we know that there will be a negative effect?
Everyone, you imagine that there's going to be repercussions, that there always is. Like, the first meteor brought so much magic, but it also brought so much destruction. The second one brought even more magic, but it also mutated those around it. So you get that there's always something.
I mean, just looking at these choices, Teretha, I kind of hug a little closer to the ones that I view as a little less risky, and the least risky one to me, based on this, is the Plane of Dreams, and I guess the next least risky would probably be maybe the Shadowfell. More knowledge isn't bad, but then like the Nine Hells seems really risky. Like if something goes wrong, like what does that mean? Are we gonna be like overrun by, you know, by demons? And I'm not, anti-demon or anything, but you don't know what they're gonna do. They don't follow code. Because a lot of them are like chaotic evil, right?
I mean,
So
we're
let
going
me,
through hypothetical.
just to clarify the Nine Hells one, demons and devils will be protecting the planet.
Yeah. So, and that kind of spooks her, because that also means they're kind of like ruling, right? So like, I mean, like I think it's very fair for Willow to be skeptical of the
Absolutely.
Nine
I
Hells.
just wanted to make sure that it wasn't the demons that were getting blocked out. So these are the ones that we'll be defending, not that these are the things that we are defending the planet from.
Yeah, she's worried about putting them like
In
charge or
charge.
something like that.
I'd much rather work alongside them. I mean, hell, you already are.
Yeah, a little, but there's a difference
You're
between
working with
me
me the
personally
entire time.
working alongside someone and me thinking that person's, fit to rule, or fit, fit to make things in their image.
It's not necessarily what will happen, but it might. We don't know.
Exactly, it might happen. That's why.
Well, with any of them, I would rather not open a doorway to some ancient civilization either. At least with the devils, we know our enemy. We know the worst that we can expect with any of these with any of these other options. I don't know what we're going to face, and that scares me. The unknown scares me more than the known.
How can an ancient civilization really be that unknown, though? It's just, and they're already dead. They already died once, they already failed. If they're really that evil,
The meteor could awaken something. I don't know.
I agree that there's risk in everyone, but I just don't see how any of them have a greater risk than the Nine Hells of really descending the planet into some sort of chaos.
Because I'd rather this world be protected by them than overrun by them.
Why the fuck doesn't Gaztash make this decision?
Because I want the players to live with this.
Of course. I don't know if Willow could live with knowing that the Nine Hells is bad and then it turning out bad.
Who said the Nine Hells were bad?
I said it turning out bad,
Yeah, it's like choosing that one, and then it turns out that was like the worst one, and you know.
I will say, I mean, your characters wouldn't know it, but there's no better or worse. It's just each one has a different effect.
But our characters don't know, and so
Right.
that's
Yeah.
that be how it do.
Yeah.
If you're staring at a gun, you want to know at least that you're staring at a gun.
Are you saying that we're gonna pick the gun option rather than, I don't know, the book option?
I can.
There's a gun and a book on the table. You don't know what's in the book. You choose the gun.
Pointing at you.
I can speak firsthand. I know that books cause untold damage. I don't even wield a weapon. I flash my little spell book. This is what I wield, and I can wreak untold havoc.
Sure. But if you're asking in the moment, am I more scared of a book that's sitting on a table, or am I more scared of a gun, which was your metaphor for the 9 hells, maybe I would just pick up the book. I am, of course, a book.
I think they're all guns. I just rather know that a gun is pointed at me than not. The devil you know. Keep them close.
You know that the phrase is the devil that you know, the bad thing that you know. The 9 hells is the bad thing. I mean, like, I'm sorry, Taritha, but it's hard. You're not doing a great job of convincing me that that this is the correct. This is like, the best path.
Well, I can't convince you because you only think of the 9 hells as pure unadulterated evil.
I don't necessarily think of it like that. I know that you're, descendant from it. I don't think of you as pure unadulterated evil. It's just, it's just tricky.
It's very tricky. I agree. But I don't see us having.
It seems like I'm willing to hedge, and pick something in between what I think is the best option and the worst option. Are you able to hedge? Is there like an alternative to the 9 hells that you would consider?
I don't think so. I think I was sent here to make this choice. I think I was sent here to open up the world
because if
to
somebody
the 9 hells.
Because they are going to gain from this.
Everyone gains something out of this.
I'm not so sure. The angels clearly think that they're doing whatever the right thing is, right? So clearly not everyone is going to gain.
Oh yeah, another meteor is going to drop, and depending on where it drops, entire towns, if not ecosystems, are going to be ravaged and destroyed, and that's not even taking into account the magical and other ontological effects.
And just as a heads up, only the first meteor killed people on the impact. I'm not saying that people won't be killed from the effects of the other meteor, but the places on the map that they are falling are all on natural places. So you can rest assured that you're not throwing it into the middle of a town.
But could we throw it on the middle of a town?
I mean, you could, but then you would not be opening up a chakra. You'd just be committing mass murder.
That's true.
All right, I'm gonna roll a d20 to see how stubborn Willow is on this. All right. She looks to Tolly, and she's gonna say, "Are you sure about this?"
No.
Fuck.
I mean, what do you want? What do you want Tolly to say? Of course, she's not sure about this.
Well, it was more of a question like, are you okay with this option? Like, are you do you
The option of the devil?
Yeah, the 9 hells.
Sorry. I mean, I know what I'm not going to win against Taratha.
You don't need to underestimate yourself, Tali.
I don't have any words that are going to convince you to do anything else than what you've set your mind to, so
I am incredibly stubborn, you're correct.
whether or not I'm okay with this future is moot.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine. I guess I can't even say it's on your head if anything goes wrong, Taratha.
It's not. It is on Taratha. Sorry, she thought you were talking to you. I thought you were talking to Tali, and Tali was like, "Nope, it's gonna be Taratha's fault."
Yeah, I mean, it'll be Taratha's fault, but we'll all get blamed for it.
I will bear that responsibility.
Well, yeah, you'll do it in spirit, but in actuality, I'm gonna live with the fucking guilt. Let's just. You better just open it up before I change my mind.
Yeah, open it up. Whatever I have to do to open it up.
So we're going with 9 hells?
Yep.
Yes.
Nice.
At least I have this fancy, shiny new weapon to shoot demons with.
Yeah, you do. And then speaking of like evil shit, y'all got the loot in chat. Like, are you doing anything with like the eye and the anything like that? I mean, I'm not expecting you to, but if you are, I need to know.
Oh, let me go back to the chat.
That's on the Facebook chat.
Yep, I'm going to it.
So if you could read out the different things. I mean, there's one of them that has a whole page of nasty shit. But
one thing I definitely want to do is when we open it, I'm gonna take off my ring and be full tiefling form when this happens.
with the meteor.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen at the end. It's just something that I wanted you all to kind of decide before we move forward, because like the next thing that you're gonna be doing is training, and we don't have time for that today. But just to give a kind of update, is next session is meant to be training, a little bit of combat for that, and like some role play, and then the session after that is the big old battle.
All right. So question, what are you talking about with the eye? I'm sorry, what are you referring to?
Like the eye and hand of, it starts with a V.
Where did we get these items? I'm sorry.
Did I not send it to you?
I when you started talking about the eye, I'm like, I remember my arcane eye, but
Oh shit. No, I did give you Ring of Animate Dead, Ring of Spell Storing, Eye and Hand of Visna, Lich
it was
Spellbook,
up a little bit more. I was looking at the
Orb
platinum
of
and
Golden
incriminating
Death,
journals.
Bag of Holding, and Armor of Bloodlust.
All right, Arm of Golden Death. I mean, the Ring of Spell Storing is interesting because I could get friends to put a spell in there, and then I could like haste myself or something. That could be neat.
Actually, yeah, because that's why I hate casting haste, because it takes up the concentration.
Okay.
Yep.
Whoa, ring Armor of Bloodlust. It's plate, so only I no, both me and Tali could wear this. You can rage even if without taking a long rest. You gain the benefits of a rage feature even when you're wearing the armor. However, if you start your rage while wearing this armor, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion when you're rage. And wait, I need to read this again. You can rage an unlimited number of times without taking a long rest, and you gain the benefit of the rage feature. However, if you start a range, it's just a little poorly worded. It means when you start a range when you're wearing this armor, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion when the rage ends. Additionally, you have the fast movement feature. Cursed. This armor. Do I know it's cursed?
I would imagine Taratha
reading?
cast Identify on all of these at some point.
I'm gonna pass because A's plate. I have a +5 deck, so it's not really that much better than me just wearing other armor. And B, while rage is nice, I'm not only do I have to deal with this curse, but I have to deal with the fact that I'm getting exhaustion whenever I use this feature. So it doesn't make the curse less. So no, I will not be doing that.
I mean, I got the spell book, so I'm Gucci.
I'd take the bag of holding.
Bag of holdings are always useful.
Wait, the eye and the hand of Vecna?
Yep.
Oh fuck. I might want one of these. All right, my strength score is already 20, so the hand is not as useful. We'll keep going. Melee spell attacks. That might be useful for you, Tali. The hand.
It does corrupt you though. Bear in mind.
Yeah, no, she wouldn't take anything that would do that.
You can. All right. So the eye, you have true sight. You can use the action to see as if you're X-ray vision, and eye has 8 charges, and you can spend it to cast different spells. But it corrupts me. My alignment changes to neutral evil. I don't want to be evil. I guess I won't do that one either. Man, they just gave us like the cabal of legendary items. And
I mean, all things that I knew that you would probably not use.
Let's just destroy them, man. So I don't know.
Where is the list of things? I'm like,
it's on the Stream
above,
City.
Like, yeah, it's on the Stream City. It's the bag and the inside out. That was the other thing, right? That was the 120 platinum, the Infinity journals and stuff. Okay, I'll keep the bag. That's just a normal thing. And the Ring of Spell Storing I would be interested in, but I don't really want the other things. Assuming that my allies can put things in the Ring of Spell Storing. Is that how it works?
I forget.
I'm looking it up. So this ring can stores spells cast into it, holding them until the attuned wearer uses them. The ring can store up to 5 levels of a spell. Any creature that can cast a spell, 1st through 5th level, into the ring by touching the ring and the spell and casting the spell. So yeah, so any of you can give me a spell to cast when I'm wearing this. So I think it makes most sense for me to have it, just because then it gives us a lot more utility because I'm not a spellcaster. Whereas if one of you have it, it's like you could have already done whatever the thing was that you were storing. It just doesn't take a slot, I suppose.
I mean, it would always be useful for you to have a spell of healing.
Yeah, or revivify.
Yeah, I mean, not for yourself.
Oh yeah, I do have fighting spirit, so I kind of have a spell of healing in that sense, I suppose.
Well, you go down a lot, so that's really what Tali is thinking about. But historically,
historically, Willow's our frontline fighter, so she tends to take most of the damage. All right. I'll take the Ring of Spell Storing. So that means I am attuned to the lightning leg. Sorry, go ahead.
So no, you go.
I'm looking at everything I'm attuned to because in order to attune to it, I may have to unattune from something.
Yep. Your attunement, you do have the docent as one of the attunement things.
Yep. So my attunements right now are Lightning Leg, Docent, and the Flame Tongue. Cotton Ball doesn't require it, and neither does Bad News. Though I can't even use Bad News anymore because I always have a shield on. And Undoing does require it, so I've kind of been misusing it. I haven't been using it very much in combat. I think Undoing only requires it, though, for the Dispel Magic thing. Nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's otherwise just a +2 rapier. Sorry, bye Docent.
It's all good.
The Docent's cool, but it doesn't really help me much in combat. So outside of if I am already down, so I'll unequip or unattune to the Docent, and I will attune to the. Oh, but I have to attune to this new gun too, don't I?
Yeah, all 3 of those weapons are attunement weapons.
Fuck. Well, okay, so the leg is always on.
Yeah.
I guess I can't even do the Ring of Spellstoring then, because I'm going to do the leg, the flame tongue, and the gun. Yeah, I'll have to do that because like I need to have my like the flame tongue is by far my best item, so I need to keep that outside of the leg.
Now,
The leg is my best item.
yeah, but just also bear in mind, like I'm not telling you what to do, but you are going to be fighting in the mech, so most of the melee things, unless you get out of the mech suit, are going to be done.
I'm just saying my like routine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my routine attunement is these three, and then maybe when I do the mechs, I tell you that day I'm attuning to these different objects, right?
Yeah.
But my base level will be flame tongue, forget about it, and the lightning.
Nice. Leia,
so
you were gonna say something.
I can't use the ring, but if you got maybe I can use it during the actual big fight.
Yeah. I mean, during the actual fight, then I mean the wizard taking the extra spell slot would not be a bad idea either.
Yeah.
Do you have the attunement slots for Ring of Spellstoring?
I don't think so.
God, you guys.
Well, I got my cloak. I got the tiara now, and then
I don't think I have anything that attunes.
The cape of the cloak of the bat, I assume.
I don't wear anymore.
Okay,
the cloak of the bat went away with my aesthetic of I have other things at this point, and I don't think any of my armor or weapons are attunement items.
So your new holy book is definitely one. And then you could take the Ring of Spellstoring, so that would be if you want. I mean, it's kind of useful because it's unlike the tiara, you put a spell in it once and you just have it until you expend it.
And it doesn't even have to be one of your spells.
Yeah, you could put Taratha's spells in there.
All right. Cool.
Nice. So we'll play out the start of the scene of you all approaching the training grounds, getting ready to partner up.
We could also actually do a half an hour of questions today, unless there was a reason that we needed to.
Oh no, I just wanted to get past this one. We like definitely do a half hour questions, but in the last 5 minutes, I just wanted to resolve the issue of who's partnering with whom.
Oh sure, yeah.
Where Tali and Taratha are meant to be in a mech suit together, and how does Taratha break the news?
Sorry, what was that? What was that question again?
We're at the point now where you're going to have to, start learning to battle with your soulmate. And Willow, you as well. There is an Ashina waiting there that you have not seen yet, but the way that they are looking at you, it seems like, they are expecting to fight with you.
I'll walk up to him and say, hi.
Hello.
What's your name?
I am Sonar. Oh, sorry, Sonin.
Oh, Sonar was the cooler name.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry,
Sonin. So I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna try to handle this one. First, I'm gonna try to see if I can do this by myself. Well, not really by myself. Then I'll snap the echo into place. I already kind of have a soulmate, and I'm gonna try it out with this. If it don't work, though, we'll see if we can work it out. But I think that I'll be more compatible with this person. It's really in the best interest of everyone.
Roll me a persuasion check.
15.
They are definitely taken aback and a little bit kind of offended, you can tell. And Sonin will go, I approve of what is best for everyone, but this is heresy.
Well,
And they'll walk away.
okay.
I mean, you got what you wanted, but they're also not totally on board with what's going on.
Sure.
And then Taratha.
I think there's really only one person in the world I am really compatible with. Not even as a matter of preference, just as a matter of fact. And I just cast Simulacrum on myself.
And I mean, the spell does require more stuff, but for flavor, from the sand beneath you, it starts
Well,
to.
we have like how much platinum? We've got gold for days.
Oh no, I know, but it's also it takes a long time to cast. It's
It
not
takes like a whole day to cast. So maybe
Yeah.
you did this yesterday and it walks out, right?
Yeah.
Like your simulacrum.
And from the sand forms everyone's worst nightmare, an identical Taratha.
Oh my god. No. This is a nightmare. Fuck. Just kidding. Just you learn that one from the Lich?
Yep. Height, vanity, right here. Vanity couture, if you will. My ego is really showing.
Well, Tali, who are you gonna drift with then?
I guess we'll see.
And
is there anybody like that she would even consider?
Well, above table, I figured you would drift with Clint. Because everyone else has a partner already. Or you can ask,
My partner,
that one too, or Daddy Meth for another demon.
No, thanks.
No, thanks.
How about nah? Yeah, man.
Taratha doing you dirty.
Does Willow say that?
No, she thinks it.
Yeah, I wanted to know if Taratha or if Willow said that out loud, because Tolly is, you can tell, probably very much maintaining, like actively maintaining neutrality. I don't know if you would be able to tell what emotion is underneath that neutrality, but she is very carefully maintaining.
Check. Don't worry, I've been rolling shitty on these all day.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to make a check, go for it.
24.
Of
25.
course. Yeah, no, she is furious, but also not surprised. And Willow, you are not sure that she will in fact maintain contact with Taratha after this.
Ooh.
That is how mad she is.
Um,
Because she doesn't trust people very easily, and so there is no one actually that she would do this with now. So she doesn't know what she's gonna do, but that is what you would get with that 24. She is.
Willow would kind of go up to you and say, "Do you want to go in the mix together?"
No, you have a partner.
I don't even know if it'll work though.
Well, try it out. She is the person you would best be paired with, and that's what we need to do here for the best. It is best for everyone that you are paired with the person best for you.
Well, I need you to be paired with the person that's best for you then too.
Well, she decided to use herself, and that's fine.
It's called masturbation, and it's perfectly normal and healthy.
Would Willow think of there being any way for maybe Tolly to be able to do one by herself?
There would be no way. They have to have a second person.
She will probably ask Clint because Clint is a part of her own peeps.
Yeah,
and
so
we'll just see if they can train together. I think that there's a really, really good chance that they will not be able to, like above table.
mhm. Yeah, that's totally fine. And we'll say that I mean he didn't come with you. But if you were suddenly out of drift compatible partners, they would transport him here, only him, just for your behalf. And if he doesn't work out, then they're just gonna pop him back with the caravan for the next 6 weeks.
Awesome. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it there. I just wanted to make sure
Find
because
a
like you
simulacrum and a pile of snow in the morning.
yeah.
Everyone thinks that Tolly did it, but it was actually Willow.
No, I mean, again, like Tolly is maintaining, like Tolly is attempting with everything she's got to not upset the balance. Like she really is like, this is what's if this is what Taratha thinks is best for her, then that is what it should be. That doesn't make her any less mad, but she's not like they need to focus on what they're doing and not on Tolly's feelings about it. So unless they check her.
Okay, but can I talk about how prophetic it was that your book is called Spells Don't Care About Your Feelings?
No, Taratha doesn't care about your feelings. That doesn't have anything to do with these spells and everything to do with Taratha deciding that her own personal shit was more important than anybody else. And now Tolly knows that for real. Tolly always knew that before, but now Tolly knows that it also applies to her, and so that's fine. That's the choice that Taratha made.
And that's where we'll end it.
Hey.
GG, everyone.
Okay, so I'm not gonna be around for the next 2 weeks. Too much. I'm just joking. I mean,
there will be no in-party fighting because Taratha or Tolly doesn't believe in that. So she, like, her feelings are not important in this moment. What's important is that they get this job done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no worries. There's not going to be any of that shit because Tolly just doesn't. Tolly's not going to engage that.
I just remember when Corey said that because we were, talking about other stuff and he dropped that. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's such a Taratha thing to do, but that's so gnarly.
I love the flavor of it so much.
Mm-hmm.
I know it fucks over your character, but it's so good.
I guess that's it's an interesting thing that it's kind of Taratha's like MO that like no one is better for Taratha than Taratha, and like comparing it to Alistair, who is like actively trying to kind of go beyond that. I just think it's kind of interesting. Like within the same episode, there's someone who's lonesome and it's kind of sad, and then there's another person who is also lonesome, but like what better than that? Just sort of the framing of it. And I guess, sorry.
I mean, at its core, like Taratha is a deeply, deeply lonely person, and that has over time transformed into a massive ego as a way to kind of shield that loneliness. So that what she's indicted with is being of this immense hubris, not that she is has historically lived alone and has been afraid of people.
Like, and Tolly understands that, and that's why she put up with Taratha's shit until right now.
which is totally valid. It's a very shitty thing to do.
Like, she has been there for Taratha this entire time, attempting very much to allow Taratha to be able to have community and grow beyond herself, and this was the moment where Tali found out that she will never decide to do that, and so she's gonna stop.
That makes me sad.
It is very.
I mean,
like,
I
don't question the decision whatsoever.
No, it sucks. It actually sucks pretty hardcore. Like this campaign is gonna like end with Holly losing a person she thought was her best friend, which sucks.
Right.
And then we'll be back to playing real best friends forever.
Yay!
They never ever not happy nor
Totally.
The totally never been sad before Ash and emotionally well-adjusted Franz.
I mean, Ash is much better. By the time we get to campaign, Ash is gonna be significantly better than this audience has ever seen him. So that'll be cool.
Franz is going to be at a whole other level, and that's all I'm going to say.
I know what you're doing, and I'm scared.
Oh man.
What's it called? God, I had a. So here's another thing. Like with drift compatibility, like I feel like there's not too many mechanics in D&D, for something like that. And I have a couple of ideas in mind, and like, I mean, I don't feel like it's a spoiler to tell you these because it's just like, oh yeah, a week from today I'm going to be saying the same damn stuff. But sort of, I mean, it's very different from what I originally imagined because I imagined it being the two of you and then like me, like being Zinnia, with Eric, but now it's like it's a little unwieldy where individually you have to text me what move your character is making, and if the two of you say similar enough things, then the hit is a success. You know, it's not even kind of comparing like roles. It's just like how similarly are you thinking to one another.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Like right now, I'm really sorry, but there's no way. There's no way that Tolly will be able to do that with Clint. Like I'm really real.
Oh yeah.
There's no way. The only person she would have been able to do that with is Saratha. I'll call like we can roll things and we can just like say that it happens.
No, but that's kind of like I would like to try because like just so that you're not stuck, you know, next session not doing anything. Like we can play it out and
I actually don't mind being stuck with doing nothing. Like honestly, that's because that will be real to the story. So,
but also now because of this, like I'm going to like for the final battle, like Tali can't operate a mech suit, so now it's going to be sort of like a multi-tier battle where there's. I mean, I always imagined stuff on the ground going on, but it was more of a theater of the mind that it's happening, and that was where Alistair was going to fight. But now, we'll just kind of have kind of two side by side battles going on during all of this, which I think will make it interesting and fun.
Absolutely.
What sort of alternate as DMs? What sort of alternative battles have you done? Like for example, last Saturday, I had 3 players doing cage matches, one-on-one battles, and so I had 3 separate matches going on at the same time, so that they didn't, you know, go, you know, have one-on-one, then another one-on-one, then another one-on-one. They were all engaged because the matches were happening at the same time, just in 3 separate locations. So I'm not sure what other things that you have done that's not kind of your quote-unquote standard D&D 5e combat.
Oh, that's a really good question.
I think you can always like kind of model like a kind of combat as like a skill challenge, right? So skill challenges aren't explicitly combat, but you know, like if you're running away from, let's say, like a giant Godzilla, right? Like it's kind of like a combat, but instead it's like you replace like the combat features with skill challenges. Like I'm gonna, and that can be kind of fun, I suppose.
That is true. Corey and Leia.
I'm trying to think. I mean, 5e has a pretty robust vehicle combat system. And the way that I did in the Avernus campaign is like everyone kind of controls a different part of the vehicle. And so like, there's skill checks and there's, modifiers and different abilities associated with each part of the vehicle. And the vehicle could be hit in different places and that means different things. And then, and that's fun.
That
but
is
this
fun.
isn't quite that. But it's great. If we ever do want to do a boat thing.
You might. Taizhou is on a coast.
I always forget that. That is true.
Yep. Y'all haven't dealt with the port yet. And it's funny because the other parties that have gone to Taizhou, because now I have 3 in this world, I can't keep them away from the fucking water. Like, they are just a magnet for redcoats and water at this point. But yeah. I'm also thinking, so here's another thing that I did with another party, because I know that there's some, and I wrote about this in one of the blog posts for Serious Play, but I figured it'd be fun to have like a live discussion about it. But sort of the ways that the rules can be altered or fudged or even worked within, to make the game more accessible for a wider range of people. But I'm also thinking in terms of people who are not quite as vocal or maybe a little bit anxious to suggest solutions, because if the role goes poorly, even if the plan is good, it kind of falls and then like your plan was bad because it failed, not necessarily like the role was bad so shit happens. So like one of the campaign sessions that I ran was essentially a Groundhog's Day where they got to try out pretty much everyone's scenario, so everyone would have a chance at seeing how their thing might play out, either with poor rolls or with good rolls. And I'm just trying to think of other things that you have done to sort of welcome in either players that are newer, players that are a little bit more nervous to suggest things or don't speak up as much.
I mean, players that don't speak up as much, you kind of have to. I just put on my teacher hat and then I just call on them. That's kind of what I do. I don't know if that's good or bad. I always feel like that's always like kind of like pedagogically normalized, but I don't know, still makes me feel uncomfortable. But that's here nor there. I think, but to address your question in a different way, I think breaking down skills, like, there's usually like an action to a skill check. So, like, oh, I want to, I don't know, steal from this guy. Breaking it down maybe in different steps so they can see how the plan is unfolding and how their choices might impact or how different skills are associated with different parts of a plan. I love the Groundhog's Day idea. We did that kind of once when we started this campaign way, 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 way back then. I really like that.
That one was a little bit differently run because that one was you were discovering the issue. This one they knew what they knew what they needed to, they knew what the end game was. They had to figure out how can we get to that. How do we get to the win condition that we want?
Yeah. I think like I have 2 things that kind of come to mind for this kind of question. The first is you can always just let someone succeed without a roll, right? And so like if it like I mean you did that today, right? With my conversation with the Ashina person, right? I didn't roll, I just talked to them. I tried to stay in character, which I think I did right. I wasn't like pulling knowledge my character wouldn't have or something, right? Or really acting in a way out of character. And you decided that was good enough to persuade them. And I think sometimes you just you can do that, right? Like I want to jump off the roof and into this bushel of hay, right? You're like you don't need to make a dex save, right? You're like jumping into a bushel of hay, so I'm just going to let you not take damage from the fall, right, or something like that. And that can be really helpful because sometimes then the players can feel like not everything's dependent on them rolling well. Sometimes just having a good idea is enough.
For sure.
The other thing is like I think failing forward is like a good philosophy that can be hard to enact in games, but is often very much worth it. So, my favorite example of failing forward is Can I give an example?
Yeah.
My favorite example of failing forward is like imagine like you're trying to sneak past some guards, all right, and somebody in your party rolls a bad stealth check. Instead of the guards see you roll for initiative, you might say, as you're walking by, one of you steps on a twig, it snaps. One of the guards turns in your direction and says, "What was that?" But they don't seem to see you, right? So now it's like right, you failed forward, right? Like we're not at the point, like, there's a step between failing the first roll and like combat, right? So like now you can be like, oh, sneaking wasn't the wrong idea, but now we have to think on our feet because we failed once and like things are escalating, right? Like, so failure as like, as a means of escalating things rather than just like a binary, or like you failed, now we're in combat, or you failed the persuasion check, they'll never agree, right? Maybe you fail a persuasion check and they're just like, oh, you have to sweeten the pot, I need 200 gold, right? Whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, having the failure not necessarily mean you cannot progress, but rather progressing now becomes more complicated.
Yeah. Also, direct, if they're open up to video games, I would recommend a game like Disco Elysium that does a phenomenal job.
Oh, such a good game.
Yeah, it does a phenomenal job of showing, like, giving meaningful failure, like failing a roll and something not just productive but interesting comes out of it. Like one of my favorites is, early in the game, this isn't really a spoiler, but you're an amnesiac cop and you have to pay for your hotel bill.
I just remember we ran away on Lunch Zone when we did that one.
Yeah, you could totally say fuck it and run away, and then you can like jump and flip him off, and if you fail what is the game's equivalent to a dex check, you basically body slam into a wheelchair bound woman, which sounds awful, and it kind of is, but from that actually blossoms a really interesting friendship, and you actually get an item from that character that you would not have gotten otherwise if you had not, body slammed her.
Such a good game.
And so I think, like, trying to, going back to Eric's point, not rewards the bad way, but like show that there's something to happen. The world progresses when we fail, and new things can happen. I mean, if they try to steal and they get sent to jail, jailbreaks are fun, and that can be productive both for showing mechanics in the game, working on skills that they might not otherwise use, showing consequences, but also more combat.
But yeah, so like, like another example could be like, oh, we've got to get into this building. Well, I'm going to climb up the roof and climb down the chimney, right? And they fail their climbing check, right? And instead of it being like, or maybe like a better example is like jumping across the chasm, right? Instead of like, I attempt to jump across the cavern, oh God, natural 1 on the athletics check, you're dead. You fall to your death, right? It says like you're hanging on by one hand, right? Like that's a lot more exciting, right? It's like the story's evolving as you're making your checks rather than like binary success fail.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just thinking back to that one scene when you were trying to climb over the fence by the fountain, and Franz, who's so good at this, just kept failing it.
Just couldn't do it. Just could not do it.
That would have been good to implement the failing forward. That's why I like the Powered by the Apocalypse system so much, because it's very hard to get a complete success, and the game revels in mixed successes and failures. And I feel like it normalizes not getting what you want, but also developing the story by not getting what you want, as opposed to D&D, which I feel relies too heavily on succeeding.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
it's very
one of the
binary.
reasons I advocate for using systems outside of D&D, because there is such a culture of you want to do a thing, so you do a thing. Like, and that is what D&D is often expected to be.
Yeah.
Because in another game that I'm playing, I have a group of characters that are having a difficult time handling characters that are higher level than them because they're expecting to succeed. I had the rogue roll a 23 on a sleight of hand check to steal from someone who had a passive perception of 26. And he's like, but I rolled above a 20. I was like, yes, and there's people that are better at you at things. And just the sort of the obsession of numbers and good rolls, I feel like
Yeah.
sets people up for frustration when it doesn't work out.
Yeah. Also, I think a good lesson for DMs and players in general is don't, unless you want to RP it, don't have someone roll on it if you don't want them to succeed or you don't want them to fail. Because that nat 20 or that nat 1 is going to come in and just completely derail the experience in a lot of ways, because there is a kind of a player entitlement to critical successes, and then
Bowie.
there are situations in which your character would never reasonably critically fail something, but the dice dictate it, so.
With skill checks, nat 20s and nat 1s don't really exist rules as written. It's just become an adopted practice.
Yeah.
This is true. Because a natural 20 is the highest roll, and because it doesn't confer an automatic hit on an attack, right? Yeah, I would say one thing that I totally agree with that don't make them roll if they can't succeed on it, or if somebody's like, king, give me your crown, I am now the ruler, right? And the king's surrounded by his guard, right? He is you're just meeting the king because you did a good thing for him. The king isn't going to be like, oh, you rolled a natural 20, your words have persuaded me, I will give up my life's goal of being the king and ruler of this land,
but
and
I think
will
that's
give it to
also
you, right?
I do agree with that as well. I 100% agree. I also think that people take charm person too far, as thinking of someone as friendly does not mean that you're giving them the keys to the castle.
Oh, 100%. And then to take it even further, I think insight has kind of morphed itself over time into a truth checking skill, which it's not at all.
No.
I kind of actually hate insight in a lot of ways, because there's a very gray line to what a character would be able to intuit and see and read, even with a really high success, versus I don't know. I hate insight. If they ever do a future a 6th edition, I think they should just get rid of it and then just try different ways of working out how
Sense
one
motive
perceives another.
Yeah, go ahead.
I try to be really, really contextual about it. So when Willow got that 24, it was I would have said something different if Willow didn't know Tolly so well. But Willow knows Tolly really well. And so it was one of those, well, with that high of an insight, we've shared minds. Willow would know. And so I gave more detail that I might to someone else who might have just got, yeah, no, she's fucking pissed off. And that's all I would have said.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. The thing with insight is that it shouldn't really give your character any knowledge that they wouldn't have already had. Instead, it should be oh, you roll really high in your insight check. They seem really nervous, right, when they're talking about this thing. You gander that they might be lying, right? Not here's the truth, right? Because you rolled a good insight check, right?
Sorry.
But you don't trust that they're what they're saying. Or on the inverse, right? You there's a small tremble in their voice. They really are being earnest when they speak about this thing. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
But I would kind of be hesitant to kind of say something like, you think that they might be lying, because I think that's on the player to kind of garner or to kind of work with.
So I guess that's the other thing I'll say is like sometimes when people are not so good at actually being able to read the DM, or when the DM isn't good at like there have definitely been times even in this game where Kelly meant
Oh
for the
yeah.
person to be
Oh
super
yeah.
earnest, and we're just like, we hate this person.
No, I know, I
Yeah.
hate it.
And that's not saying like, well, Kelly, it's because there's something wrong with you. But I do think that there is something to say about someone who's playing a charismatic character, um, that doesn't necessarily have the actual ability to make those deductions themselves. And so having something like insight allows players to roll the dice. Like before we were saying, like people who like Kelly was saying, like if they have a good plan and then they roll the dice and it doesn't go well, how do you deal with that, or how do you get new players to kind of like actually talk to you? And one of the things I have found is people who want to play social characters but don't really actually have the skills to be as social as their character might be, that the rolling helps them be able to play. And like the same goes for insight, right? Like I'm a relatively
That's a great
intuitive
point.
person, so I like to play insight characters because I like to play high insight and low insight in characters, because then I can roll insight knowing that my character isn't going to do well, but then I can play to the role as opposed to playing to what I actually probably know as a player, right? Because I pick up on things that my character wouldn't, or my character picks up on things that I might not. And so that's why I really like insight and I use it a lot. But I don't know.
No, I think that that's a great point. Yeah, I think the yeah, the thing is like necessarily like sometimes the insight's treated like you're a human lie detector, right? You perfectly
Right.
know like their intentions, or like even like sometimes it can come across like it's like you know the truth as a result of the insight check, right? Like it's like
Mm.
you know, oh, do I think he's lying? You now know that when he was a child, he had a terrible experience with a spider, right? Like, wait, how do I know this? You know what I mean?
Right. But no, I'll also use insight with my players to do things like if they found out a piece of information long time ago and the player themselves have forgotten, but then they insight somebody and they're like, then they get this insight from this person, and all of a sudden, like, then it would put into context this piece of information that the player themselves may or may not remember. I like to then bring up that thing that they might have forgotten,
Mm-hmm.
and be like, this now connects for you. You understand their intentions are X, or that they are connected to X, Y, or Z thing, because because you would know now.
Because you have this innate knowledge of social
Right.
relationships.
Right. Yeah, like you can now finally put this together, this thing that might have been bugging you for a long time or whatever. And I like to use insight like that too, to make connections that you wouldn't necessarily always make as the player. Um But I also don't think that I use insight per rules. I also don't think I use very many skills
Hmm.
as written. Um, Most of the time, actually. So I mean, there's also
Yeah.
that piece of it.
I think part of like the insight, my problem with insight is that I can see it's connected to a deeper problem with the way sometimes people play D&D, and
Mm.
Kelly knows this very well. Is I hate it when players call for a check. It's like I insight check them.
Yeah.
I just don't let that happen in my game. I want players to say like, what is your character doing? Like, do I believe them? You know what I mean? Like as opposed to like an insight check, right? Or something along like not insight's kind of funky, but like instead of saying I'm gonna do an athletics check and see if I can get on the roof, instead saying I'm gonna try to climb onto the roof. Okay, make an athletics check, right? Like I want to be as the DM, the one who tells you what the check is that you're going to make. Um, you know, and sometimes and I've been doing the alternate skill rulings lately, and I think that they work out really well. Like a good example of this would be like, you're arm wrestling somebody, right? And are they about to twist my wrist, right? Make an insight strength check, right? So you make it, if you're proficient with insight, you get a proficiency bonus, and otherwise you're making an insight check with your strength. right? Because you're trying to like gander what their body would do, right? I think that when you do that, I love those alternative skill checks because like they allow for a more robust understanding of the world.
And yet
how
you're
your
so
character
mad
interacts.
at the artificer feature to use their intelligence modifier.
I'm not. No. I'm not really mad about that. I just like from a game design perspective, it's like the overly sad classes, like single attribute dependent, can sometimes be a little like they can be a little like annoying because like your character doesn't have weaknesses. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I just wanted to throw shade at that. That is all.
I, as a player and as a DM, totally love it. Like I like to call out skills because I like to play to the role of things. Often, right? Like particularly in social situations.
Mm-hmm.
I won't always do that, but I do get joy from saying, "Oh wow, nope, Tolly definitely." And I will roll checks on my own for myself. Like,
Yeah.
Yep. No, I
a
do the
lot.
same thing, and Eric will be like, "What are you rolling the dice for? I didn't tell you to do a check." I was like, "I'm just rolling to see how I would react to this. It's okay, I swear."
Yeah, because it's more like I want to be like, because like Tolly, right? Like she would try to keep her cool, but if she rolled really poorly, like it would be like petty keeping it cool, you know? Like I'm not mad at you, Avi, you know, like,
I'm
but while
just
obviously being
disappointed.
very, yeah, I'm just disappointed, exactly. Right, but then she rolls well enough that I'm like, okay. Or I roll and I realize, nah, actually, I just want her to react this way. Like,
Yep.
you know, like if you roll a die to figure out a decision, like you will figure out what you wanted the decision to be. When I can't make a decision about something, I will often roll the die and then like not go with what the die said for my own self.
It just helps you
Um,
make a decision.
yeah, oftentimes it's a decision maker more than anything else.
That makes sense.
Or like particularly if I'm like, I don't really know how my character would react to this. Let's just roll and see. Like, I will do that too.
Yeah, I think that yeah. Obviously, I think one thing we're definitely coming across is D&D is a very complicated game.
Oh, 100%. Well, I mean, it's very like you can run it however you want, you know? Like you really can, and like every DM is going to be different. And that's part of what makes the game so much fun and actually replayable in a lot of instances because you're like, well, I don't know, I'm going to go play an Eric's game and I'm having a totally different experience than when I am playing in Kelly's game, for instance. So, you know.
Just so many chain devils.
Fuck you and your chain devils. That's all I have to say about that.
All I'm
And after this
saying,
chakra, there's going to be more chain devils in
I
this
know,
world.
that's why I was really excited.
That's like fine for these people. If Ash ever finds these people, he's gonna be like, I'm gonna murder you. Fuck chain devils so hard. That is.
And that's really the ultimate advice is if you ever really want to fuck over your players, because every once in a while you do, just all the chain devils. Not one, not two, a lot.
I mean, even one or two below level 5 would be, you know,
disgusting.
Yeah, would fuck your players over easy.
Yeah, pretty much. If you do anything that can restrain a player, that really skews the game.
Really, just I mean, I will never play a game where I can't have freedom of movement as a spell with Kelly ever again. That is essentially what I'm saying.
Which is very fair.
I'm glad that I am putting to use buff spells that are level 4 because I feel like level 4 is the most under like spelled level.
Oh no, I literally use more level 4 spells than anything else actually.
Polymorph is level 4, baby.
It is, but
Dimension Door is level 4. Actually, let me look at my level 3. I mean, level 3 is where you really start really feeling powerful.
Fireball.
But level 4 that's where banishment is. That's where just so many good things. Resilient Sphere. It's you get 3 of them very quickly if you're a full caster. it's a good spell level.
Yeah, I think 4 is good. I think it just gets overshadowed because like 5 has like really bonkers stuff, and 3 is like where, like you said, like you get Fireball, right? Your first like really amazing like AOE spell, or you counter spell, which is like game defining.
Oh yeah.
Or and stuff like that. Whereas at 4th level, you get these great spells, but they're like a little overshadowed by the other levels. But that doesn't mean that they're not amazing.
Yeah, 4th level is where you really, as a character, can start controlling not just a battlefield control, but really kind of controlling the ebb and flow of the battle in ways that 3rd level you can't quite.
Yeah.
And we're at 5th level, you're just at a full cast, you're just really going ham. 5th is like most campaigns, I say, typically end around when characters get 5th level, which makes a lot of sense because it's just a very powerful note to end on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we really want to talk about what gets really dicked over, 6th level spells kind of fall to the wayside a little bit. Like you get things like Disintegrate, but you're just kind of biding time to get to 7th level where things go real bonkers.
Yeah, I think 6 is really good for like my character Nor, but that's because she has no damage dealing spells. So like 6 is really fun because of that. But like when you get up into the higher levels, you're like, I don't really want to be spending my 6th level spell just to like deal damage to something. You know what I mean? Like I want to do something like really cool. And you're right, like
I don't know. My 6th level spells wreck.
Like, yeah,
I mean they're immensely powerful, but you get like it takes a long time to get a second 6th level spell slot, so you're just kind of like sitting on one. Like Disintegrate is an incredibly powerful spell, but if it fails, you're just fucked.
Yeah.
If you miss a fireball, whatever, you miss a fireball. But if you miss a Disintegrate, that really, really hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at Nora's 6th level spells. She's got a contingency, which is like
really good.
That's a really good spell for sure. I'm really open at it, which is fun. But then I bite, because that's a non-violent spell. You can just keep putting people to sleep continuously, which is pretty fun. But then Guards and Wards, which is just to make it the X-Men Academy a thing, and then Mass Suggestion, which is just a great utility spell. Like, nothing that's really like blowing your brains out. But then my favorite one is definitely Major Image Upcast to 6th level, which is a new spell called Permanent Illusion. And you just make any large object or anything you want, and it's just a permanent illusion there. And like so like it's so cool.
If there was one spell that I wish I could transfer from like every other edition / Pathfinder, it would be permanency. I really feel like 5e lacks for not having the spell permanency, because permanency allows you to literally make a magical effect permanent on something, and it's such a beautiful spell, and I do really wish deep in my heart that we had that one.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
We have that. It's called the Artificer.
Yeah, but they can only do it to a select few number of objects, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, Fabricate lets you just point at like a bunch of stuff and go, "You're a table now."
Yeah. But Fabricate has like the limitation that it has to be mundane objects, right?
I think so.
Convert raw material into products of the same material. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like one of the.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I would do, like in 3.5 or Pathfinder, is like you can cast darkness on an area and then cast permanency, and like there's just something to
actually,
like,
I do agree with that. What I do for that, like above table, because I've done that a few times in setting up the Taizhou arc, but like teleportation circle, if you cast it every day for a year, it becomes permanent. So I kind of use that for other things now. If they cast it multiple times on a spot, it just becomes permanent.
Yeah, and there are ways to upcast certain abilities where they do become permanent or semi-permanent. I'm thinking specifically like of Modified Memory. It has kind of an upcast to it. And I like that. I think that's but I agree. I think I wish there was an ability to just like make any spell kind of like a permanent suggestion. I think would be really kind of
Yeah,
cool.
I think I totally agree with you, Leia, that would be cool. But thinking as a
Agreed.
game designer, I can see why. It's like 5e is like very much plays it safe a lot of the time, and
yeah,
so
for sure.
I can see like their design philosophy for 5e. They're kind of like, oh man, we don't want to like put a spell like permanency because it's like that's a spell like just suddenly becomes broken because of something you didn't consider, right? And it seems like they took a lot of they didn't want to take those chances when making this edition of the game. They wanted to keep things kind of simple, right? Harder to be broken overall.
Yeah.
Whereas like third edition, where it was like I picked a certain subclass feat combination and I am unstoppable.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's definitely less of that in 5e than there was in 3 or 3.5, and definitely less than Pathfinder 1e, which is just like they built that system to be broken. I don't know that they actually did that, but it does definitely feels that way a lot of the time. Yeah, I don't know. But it is 5:13, and
It
I do have
is.
another game in 45 minutes, so
Me
I
too.
gotta bounce. But this has been fun, y'all.
Can I
Yeah.
have a closing word of the stream?
Yeah.
We just got
I
new masks in the mail, and I want to let you all know you should all be wearing masks. I'm
Agreed.
wearing
Yes.
a mask as I say this. It doesn't impede your speech that much.
I do have difficulty hearing though.
Well, that's why you got to get the ear protectors, which you can get for like 30 cents, and have it loop around those instead of hurting your ears.
No, I meant like literally like I.
No, I know. I'm just being a dick.
All right.
But anyway,
Bye, guys.
wear your
Bye,
masks. Thanks for
everybody.
joining. See you next week.